There are places on this planet more alien than the surface of the moon, more unexplored than Mars itself. Beneath the waves lies a world cloaked in eternal darkness, a realm where pressure could crush steel, yet life persists in impossible forms. It's a place untouched by sunlight, where glowing creatures drift through the black void, and strange signals echo from the deep, never traced to a source. We've mapped the heavens more thoroughly than the ocean floor, and in that darkness are secrets we can't explain. Submerged pyramids, vanishing submarines, sounds that defy physics, creatures seen once, then never again. Why do certain regions emit rhythmic pulses no ship can locate? What draws massive marine animals to gather in complete silence, miles beneath the surface? And what, if anything, watches from the abyss? This is not fantasy. These are real events, real mysteries, all waiting just beneath the surface. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in to over 3 hours of the ocean's most haunting enigmas. You may not find answers, but you won't forget the questions. Off the western coast of India, where the Gulf of Combat meets the Arabian Sea, the waters turn a curious shade of green. Beneath the surface, the currents stir layers of sediment that have rested undisturbed for millennia. Fishermen have long whispered about the strange patterns in the waves here, subtle shifts, as though something ancient lies just beneath the swell. And perhaps it does. Roughly 20 kilometers offshore, divers and sonar scans have revealed the submerged outlines of what appear to be man-made structures. Massive stone blocks, arranged in linear formations. Rectangular depressions that resemble streets. Steps carved into solid rock, now colonized by coral. This, some say, is what remains of Dwarka, a city once thought to exist only in legend. In the Sanskrit epic Mahabharata, Dwarka is described as a marvel of architecture and engineering. A fortified metropolis built by the god Krishna himself. It shimmered with palaces of gold, silver, and crystal. Bridges connected the city's islands. Towers rose above the ocean. It was a city of gods and of mortals. And then, as the story goes, it sank into the sea. For centuries, Dwarka was a tale, poetic, symbolic, and for many, mythical. But in 1983, a team from India's National Institute of Oceanography discovered something that challenged that assumption. Using side-scan sonar equipment, researchers identified a complex array of geometric shapes on the seabed. At depths of 30 to 40 meters, they found what looked like the foundations of a city. Sandstone walls, grid-like layouts, and even what some interpreted as a dockyard. In nearby areas, archaeologists retrieved pottery shards, anchors, and stone tools, objects that seemed too sophisticated and too deliberate to be natural formations. Carbon dating of associated materials has placed some of the site's features as far back as 7,500 BCE, thousands of years older than the oldest known urban civilizations like Mesopotamia or the Indus Valley. Could it be possible that a city existed here, nearly 9,000 years ago? Mainstream scholars remain cautious. While few dispute the existence of submerged structures, many question their origin and interpretation. Some argue these formations could be natural rock formations shaped by centuries of tides and tectonic movement. Others believe they represent later structures from the historic city of Dwarka, known to have existed inland, now swallowed by rising sea levels and erosion. But not everyone agrees. Proponents of alternative history theories see the underwater site as evidence of a forgotten chapter in human civilization. They point to the site's advanced planning and symmetry, to the recovered artifacts that don't fit neatly into accepted timelines. They ask, How could a city of this scale have existed so early, and then disappeared from the record almost entirely? The question deepens when considering the cultural memories surrounding Dwarka. Unlike other lost cities, Dwarka is not just a legend. It is a place described in meticulous detail in Hindu scriptures. It is mentioned in the Bhagavata Purana, in the Skanda Purana, and other texts, with strikingly consistent imagery. Walls made of emeralds, gates of gold, streets teeming with chariots, and crucially, its end. A city consumed by the ocean after Krishna's departure, as if nature itself had reclaimed what was never meant to remain. Could these texts preserve a memory of a real event, one that predates written history? Across the globe, other coastal cities have suffered similar fates. Pavlopetri in Greece, Heraklion near Egypt, Port Royal in Jamaica. All were once thriving urban centers, until the sea took them. In that light, Dwarka's story seems less implausible, and more like part of a global pattern. Still, mysteries persist. Why have full-scale excavations remained limited? Are there deeper ruins buried beneath layers of silt that modern instruments cannot yet detect? What of the mythological descriptions of celestial visitors, flying machines, and energy weapons? Are these metaphors or distorted memories of technologies we no longer understand? Some researchers have even drawn comparisons to Plato's Atlantis, a radiant city, highly advanced, eventually destroyed by divine forces and submerged beneath the ocean. Two civilizations, two continents, and yet two eerily similar tales. Is this coincidence or convergence? Despite decades of exploration, no consensus has been reached. The city beneath the sea remains tantalizingly out of reach, both physically and intellectually. Scientists, historians, spiritual seekers, all continue to probe its depths, sifting through sand and scripture alike. For now, Dwarka sits in silence. Its ruined stones rest among drifting anemones and darting schools of fish. The ocean, patient and unyielding, guards its secrets well. Perhaps one day, with new technology or a shift in perspective, we'll see the full picture. But until then, Dwarka remains a threshold between history and myth, a place where fact and faith entwine. And one question still lingers, unanswered. What if the stories were true all along, as we leave behind the ancient echoes of Dwarka, half a world away? The sea keeps another secret, one buried beneath centuries of silt, sand, and silence. Off the northern coast of Egypt, near the mouth of the Nile Delta, the waters of the Mediterranean shimmer with the warmth of the sun, deceptively tranquil. Beneath the surface, however, lies a city once believed to be little more than myth. For centuries, its name surfaced in scattered texts, old scrolls, and fading legends. Heraklion, or Thonis, as the Egyptians once called it. A grand port, a city of temples, a place where gods and men were said to meet. And then, it vanished. No trace, no ruins, no explanation. But in the year 2000, a team of marine archaeologists led by Frank Gaudio made an astonishing discovery. Using advanced sonar and magnetometry equipment, they mapped the seabed near Abu Qir Bay. What emerged from the scans was remarkable. Fragments of colossal statues, shattered temple columns, and inscriptions in both Greek and Egyptian. A once thriving city, submerged beneath over 30 feet of water and 1,200 years of sediment. Heraklion was real. And more than that, it was vast. Over the following years, the team uncovered sphinxes, granite slabs, ceremonial boats preserved in mud, and even gold coins, pristine, undisturbed since the city slipped into the sea. Stone anchors, massive docks, and the remains of what appears to be a grand temple dedicated to the god Amun-Gareb suggests that Herakleion was more than just a port. It was a religious capital, a sacred site of pilgrimage, and the main entryway into Egypt for travelers arriving from the Mediterranean. Herodotus, the Greek historian, once described a city where Helen of Troy and Paris supposedly took refuge before the Trojan War, where Hercules himself, after whom the Greeks named Herakleion, had once stepped foot. At the time, these were dismissed as symbolic tales, but could they, like Dwarka's legends, have been rooted in memory? Mainstream scholars now place Herakleion's prime between the 6th and 2nd centuries BCE, a time of intense cultural blending between Greek and Egyptian worlds. Its location at the fragile juncture between land and sea made it a center of commerce and ceremony, and also, perhaps, a city doomed by its very foundation. Some experts suggest a combination of factors led to its sudden disappearance: rising sea levels, earthquakes, and a process called liquefaction, where the sandy, waterlogged soil beneath the structure loses its solidity, causing entire buildings to sink. Evidence shows that this region of the Nile Delta was geologically unstable, so could Herakleion have literally collapsed into the sea in a matter of days or weeks? It's possible, but there are details that complicate the story. Certain artifacts were found remarkably well preserved, as though sealed by the sea rather than ravaged by it. Religious statues were discovered standing upright, undisturbed for over a millennium. Inscriptions on temple stones describe rituals invoking divine protection, ceremonies possibly meant to shield the city from precisely the fate it suffered. And then there's the city's layout, far more sophisticated than expected. Buildings were constructed with precise orientation, channels cut through the stone for water to flow, and dikes reinforced with unusual materials. Was Herakleion more advanced than we've assumed? Could it have possessed knowledge, architectural, astronomical, or spiritual, that has been lost to time? Some fringe theories suggest the city may have been part of a greater Mediterranean network of sacred sites, aligned with star patterns or energy grids. Others speculate about the role of magnetic anomalies in the area, subtle fluctuations that, according to some researchers, may have interfered with navigational instruments for centuries. Sailors reported strange occurrences near Abukir Bay, long before the city was discovered. Compasses spinning, lights beneath the waves, and in some accounts, silence so deep it felt unnatural. Are these simply stories, fishermen's fables passed down over generations, or clues pointing to something more elusive? There is also the question of timing. If Herakleion was such a crucial port, why did it disappear so completely from the historical record? Cities fade, but they don't usually vanish without trace. Was its erasure intentional? Or was its loss simply swallowed by the chaos of time? Conquerors, sandstorms, shifting seas. Even now, only a fraction of Herakleion has been excavated. Most of it remains buried beneath layers of sediment, waiting. Some say the most important discoveries have yet to be made. Sealed chambers, untouched scrolls, perhaps even relics of unknown purpose. The waters preserve as much as they destroy. Divers who have visited the site describe a haunting stillness, the way the sunlight filters through the water, illuminating a fallen pillar here, a broken altar there, like ruins suspended in a dream. Time feels different beneath the waves, slower, more ancient. Herakleion is real. That much we know. But the full story, how it rose, how it thrived, and why it sank, remains veiled. And so we're left to wonder, how many other cities lie beneath our oceans, forgotten by maps but remembered in myth? What else waits to be found? Beneath the silence, beneath the silt, just beyond the reach of light? The sea keeps its secrets well. Not far from the silt-covered ruins of Heracleion, the seabed holds yet another secret. A place spoken of in ancient texts and whispered among poets. A place once alive with music, ritual, and pleasure. Now, only fragments remain. Shattered statues and broken columns scattered across the muddy floor of the Mediterranean Sea. This was Canopus, a city where myth and memory blur, where gods were honored, empires passed through, and perhaps something more enigmatic once stirred. Located at the westernmost edge of the Nile Delta, Canopus was one of ancient Egypt's most revered cities, especially during the Greco-Roman period. By day, it was a thriving port. By night, a city lit with oil lamps and echoing with the sounds of processions, offerings, and distant lyres. It was famed for its temples, its sanctuaries, and its extravagant celebrations, festivals in honor of Serapis, Osiris, and Isis, that drew worshippers from across the ancient world. But today, Canopus lies underwater. Submerged and shattered, it rests beneath the same silty waters that now hold Heracleion, hidden until the early 2000s, when marine archaeologists began uncovering its remains. Like a twin lost in the tides of time, Canopus seemed to sleep beside its sister city, as if the sea had swept them both away in a single quiet breath. The ruins are hauntingly beautiful. Divers describe giant statues of deities, lying half-buried in the sand, their faces still serene despite the weight of centuries. Pillars, once part of great halls and sacred courtyards, now lean at unnatural angles, softened by coral and time. Ceramic vessels and inscriptions hint at trade, devotion, and daily life. Ordinary and extraordinary moments, frozen in deep-water silence. What caused the city's fall? Conventional explanations point again to the shifting geology of the Nile Delta. Like Heracleion, Canopus sat on soft, unstable ground, an area vulnerable to seismic activity, flooding, and the slow creep of the sea. Over time, land subsidence and rising waters may have pulled the city under, inch by inch. A process so gradual that no single event marked its end. And yet, somehow, the city disappeared almost completely from view. But there are details that raise questions. Some sections of Canopus appear to have collapsed rapidly, as though triggered by a sudden, violent shift. Stone structures torn apart. Walls that seem to have been pulled sideways before sinking. Could an earthquake, or even a series of them, have accelerated the city's demise? Historical records describe tremors in the region, powerful enough to be felt across the Mediterranean. Might Canopus have been destroyed in one of these events, its fate sealed by forces both natural and unforeseen? And what about the city's spiritual importance? Canopus wasn't just a trading hub. It was a holy site, a center of mystery and transformation. The Temple of Serapis stood at its heart, dedicated to a syncretic deity created to unite Egyptian and Greek religious traditions. Pilgrims came here in search of healing, visions, and divine communion. Rituals involving sacred water, music, incense, and trance states were practiced within its walls. Were these spiritual practices merely symbolic? Or were they, as some have speculated, rooted in something deeper? Something connected to the land, or perhaps the sea? In later centuries, legends emerged. Some described Canopus as a place where time seemed to slow, where people dreamed strange dreams and felt the presence of things unseen. Others claimed the city had been cursed, punished for its decadence. or for daring to draw too close to divine power. And then there are the modern fringe theories, claims of unnatural magnetic fields in the area, of anomalies in sonar data, of architectural alignments pointing to celestial events. Some suggest that Canopus may have been built on older foundations, structures far more ancient than the Greco-Roman city known to history. Could there be layers beneath the ruins, forgotten monuments, perhaps even remnants of a civilization long lost to the flood of ages? So far, no definitive answers have surfaced. The Mediterranean holds its secrets tightly, and excavation beneath the seabed remains difficult and costly. But each new discovery brings us closer. A fragment of granite here, a piece of sculpture there. Clues that speak of a world once full of life, ritual, and reverence, now drowned in silence. And yet, that silence hums with possibility. What more lies beneath the sand and salt? Could Canopus still hold the keys to a forgotten understanding of ancient Egypt, its beliefs, its fears, and its relationship with the sea? Why were cities of such importance built on such fragile ground? And what drew them to this exact spot, time and again? Perhaps it was faith, perhaps it was trade, or perhaps it was something older still. As we drift past the ruins in our minds, it's hard not to feel a quiet awe. To imagine the oil lamps flickering along the canals, the sound of footsteps on temple stone, the scent of lotus and incense on the air. All of it swallowed by water, yet not forgotten. And we're left with a single question, echoed in every ripple, every buried statue, every fading inscription. What else lies beneath the waves, waiting for the light to find it? Just as the Mediterranean gives way to its drowned temples and forgotten sanctuaries, the Caribbean holds its own sunken secrets. Fragments of a world lost not to slow decay, but to sudden, cataclysmic violence. Beneath the calm turquoise waters of Jamaica's southeastern coast lies one of the most infamous underwater cities in the Western Hemisphere. Scattered along the seabed, broken foundations of stone buildings, collapsed timber frames, and rusted hinges tell the story of a city once known as the wickedest city on Earth. This is Port Royal, a name that once echoed through the New World like a warning. In the 17th century, Port Royal was a thriving port, pulsing with energy, wealth, and shadow. Pirates, privateers, and merchants walked the same narrow streets. The smell of rum and salt filled the air. Golden coins passed from hand to hand in gambling dens, while ships from Europe, Africa, and the Americas anchored in the harbor, their sails heavy with treasure, spice, and stolen cargo. Strategically located at the mouth of Kingston Harbor, Port Royal was the jewel of English Jamaica, a crossroads of trade and a haven for outlaws. But then, on the morning of June 7, 1692, the sea came for it. In the span of minutes, the earth beneath the city liquefied. A massive earthquake, its epicenter just offshore, shook the foundations of the town. Buildings buckled, streets split open. And as the soil turned to liquid sand, entire sections of Port Royal began to slide into the sea. Witnesses described the harbor swallowing homes whole, the church bell ringing once before vanishing into the waves. Over 30 acres of the city disappeared beneath the water, along with more than 2,000 people. What remains is a snapshot frozen in time. Today, Port Royal is one of the only sunken cities in the New World that can be explored as an archaeological site. Divers have recovered clay pipes still packed with tobacco, pewter dishes set on collapsed tables and drop, streets vanishing into invisible chasms. Entire people, it's said, disappeared without a trace, not crushed or drowned, but consumed by the earth. Could the shifting sands have hidden more than just structures? Could deeper voids lie beneath the surface, swallowing entire blocks into unknown pockets of underwater terrain? Some fringe researchers speculate about the existence of a submerged fault line or cavern system beneath the Jamaican shelf, possibly even ancient or unexplored. Sonar imaging has shown unusual formations beneath parts of the sunken city. Hollow spaces, angular cuts in the rock that do not appear entirely natural. Are they merely remnants of the earthquake's violence? Or were there older foundations, pre-colonial structures, upon which Port Royal was built? Indigenous lore, predating European arrival, speaks of areas around the harbor where the land breathes and hums. These phrases were once seen as metaphor, perhaps referencing tidal flows. But modern acoustic sensors have picked up low-frequency vibrations in the area. Too faint to be seismic, too consistent to be random. Could Port Royal's collapse have been more than a disaster of soil and stone? Was it, in some sense, an echo of older forces at play beneath the island itself? Even the human element of Port Royal contains mystery. Before the quake, records show that some of its residents, particularly enslaved Africans and Maroons, refused to live within the city walls, choosing instead the higher ground or the forested interior. Some believed the city was cursed, that it sat on unstable ground not just physically, but spiritually. Was this cultural memory, intuition, or simply a coincidence later shaped by tragedy? As with so many sunken cities, the ocean keeps its distance. The water covers everything, but reveals very little. Diving at the site remains limited. Artifacts continue to be pulled from the seabed, each one offering a glimpse, but never the full picture. Even today, Port Royal isn't entirely still. The seafloor shifts, silt covers, then uncovers, ruins as the currents dictate. Historians, divers, and geophysicists continue their investigations, but the complete story of that fateful morning in 1692 may never be known. And so, Port Royal remains suspended, part history, part cautionary tale, and part unresolved mystery. Was it simply an act of nature, a disaster foretold by geology alone? Or was there something deeper, beneath the sand, beneath the stories, beneath the sea itself? From the sunken ruins of Port Royal in the Caribbean, we now drift across time and ocean, to the shadowy edges of the Roman Empire. To a place whispered about by ancient poets, feared by moralists, and envied by emperors. A city that once glittered with marble, echoing with laughter and indulgence, and now lies silent beneath the waves. This is Baiae, a city lost not to conquest or fire, but to the quiet rise of the sea itself. The waters of the Gulf of Naples are warm and calm here, kissed by Mediterranean light. But just beneath the surface, something remarkable sleeps. Columns stand upright on the ocean floor. Mosaics still shimmer faintly in the filtered sun. Stone courtyards and private chambers sit preserved in eerie stillness, as if awaiting the return of their guests. Baiae was no ordinary Roman city. Built along volcanic hills and thermal springs, it was a retreat for the elite. Rome's answer to modern-day luxury resorts. Wealthy senators, generals, and emperors constructed sprawling villas here, complete with bathhouses, libraries, dining halls, and panoramic terraces overlooking the sea. Julius Caesar walked these streets. So did Nero. But Baiae's appeal went deeper than status. It had something else, something more ancient. The region was laced with geothermal activity. Steaming sulfur springs flowed through its foundations. The air itself was said to smell faintly of brimstone. Roman physicians touted its curative waters. Mystics claimed the place was touched by divine energy. Some even believed the underworld was closer here, its veil thinner. And in a way, they weren't wrong. The ground beneath Baiai lies within the Phlegraean Fields, a vast, restless volcanic caldera. For centuries it has risen and fallen in slow, heaving rhythms, a geological phenomenon known as bradycism. Land can rise by meters over decades, then sink again with little warning. Baiai, once perched proudly on the coastline, was eventually swallowed as the land subsided and the sea moved in. Mainstream science points to this natural process, tectonic shifts and bradycism, as the cause of the city's submersion. A slow, inevitable descent. But questions remain. Why here? Why Baiai? Other coastal cities survived. But Baiai not only sank, it all but vanished from cultural memory. Few detailed accounts of its decline survive. Excavations began only in the 20th century, and many of its most ornate ruins remained unknown, until sonar and underwater archaeology revealed them in the 1960s. Today, visitors can dive through an astonishing submerged landscape. Bath complexes, atriums, statues, and streets, all lying beneath just a few meters of water. What stories do these ruins still hold? Divers have uncovered rooms with elaborate frescoes still clinging to the walls, portraits of nymphs, gods, and forgotten nobles staring from beneath centuries of sediment. In one submerged villa, a mosaic depicts sea creatures and hybrid beasts, symbols not just of leisure, but perhaps of ritual, of deeper beliefs. Some scholars wonder whether Baiai was more than a pleasure retreat, that it may have been, in part, a spiritual site, a place of initiation or pilgrimage. The combination of natural heat, mineral springs, and subterranean structures evokes older traditions, long predating Roman rule. Nearby, the so-called Cave of the Sibyl in Cumae was said to house a prophetic priestess, one who entered trance states and spoke with the voice of Apollo. Could Baiai have had similar functions? Were some of its grand villas built atop older sacred ground? There are hints. Beneath one complex, now underwater, lie tunnels and chambers carved directly into volcanic stone. Some have theorized these may have been used in mystery rites, rituals veiled in secrecy, performed in darkness, for purposes now lost to history. Others dismiss these claims, suggesting they were simply service corridors or cisterns. Still, the questions persist. More fringe interpretations go further. They point to anomalies in magnetic readings around the site, to architectural patterns in the submerged foundations that may align with celestial events, and to oral legends, passed down quietly through generations, that speak of a sunken gate near the shore, a portal to a realm beneath the earth. Are these just stories, or echoes of something deeper? Even the timing of Baiai's decline invites scrutiny. The city thrived during Rome's height, yet by the 4th century CE, it had largely emptied. Christian writers condemned it as a place of excess and vice, a Sodom of the Roman world. Was it merely abandoned for moral reasons, or did its volcanic instability play a more immediate role? Some believe seismic activity may have been increasing at the time, tremors that drove residents away, even before the land began to sink. But again, records are scarce. The silence around Baiai's fall is as mysterious as the ruins themselves. Today, marine archaeologists continue their work, carefully brushing silt from statues, mapping ancient floor plans, documenting frescoes revealed for the first time in centuries. The city is becoming clearer, yet its purpose remains elusive. Why did Baiai, with all its grandeur, fall beneath the sea while so many Roman cities endured? Was it merely the earth reclaiming its own? Or did the land itself respond to something unseen, something forgotten in time? As we drift above its silent streets, we are left to wonder, what else sleeps beneath these waters? What still waits to be remembered, just beyond the reach of light and sound? From the submerged Roman courtyards of Baiae, we now move east, across the Mediterranean, toward a coastline far older, and a mystery buried in time, as much as in silt and sea. Off the coast of present-day Israel, where Haifa's hills slope gently into the eastern Mediterranean, lies a place few have heard of, but none forget once discovered. Just a few meters beneath the quiet blue surface, rests a ghost of humanity's distant past. This is Atlit Yam, a Neolithic settlement submerged nearly 9,000 years ago. The seafloor here is calm, undisturbed. The ruins lie flat, softened by sand and algae, untouched by the chaos of waves above. But as divers descend through the shifting light, stone structures begin to emerge. Foundations of houses, stone-lined wells, pathways still marked by tools once used by hands, long turned to dust. There is no grandeur here, no temples or golden treasures. And yet, there is something hauntingly profound. These were not the works of emperors or kings, but of early humans, people who tilled the land, raised families, and built a community beside the sea. A society that thrived before writing, before metal, before recorded time. Atlit Yam was discovered in the 1980s during underwater construction. What archaeologists found stunned them. A preserved village dating to around 6,900 BCE, complete with rectangular homes, hearths, and stone-paved courtyards. Dozens of human skeletons were recovered, including one remarkably intimate scene. A woman and child, buried together, arms intertwined. Nearby, researchers uncovered a stone circle, 7 upright megaliths arranged around a freshwater spring. Their purpose is unclear. Were they markers for a ritual site, a primitive calendar, a communal gathering place? The stones bear cup marks, small deliberate carvings that suggest symbolic use. For a culture without written language, these features speak volumes. But what exactly are they trying to say? One of the most intriguing aspects of Atlit Yam lies in what it reveals, and what it hides, about the Neolithic world. This was a time when humans were still transitioning from nomadic hunter-gatherers to settled agriculturalists. The residents of Atlit Yam cultivated grains, raised livestock, and harvested seafood. Their lives were tied intimately to the land and the sea. But then, the sea rose. Sometime around 6,300 BCE, Atlit Yam disappeared beneath the waves. The reasons for its submergence are not fully understood. The prevailing theory is gradual sea level rise, likely connected to melting glaciers at the end of the last ice age. A slow encroachment, a creeping tide that eventually swallowed the village. And yet, there are other possibilities. A massive landslide off the continental shelf may have triggered a localized tsunami, an event capable of flooding low-lying settlements in an instant. This idea, while still debated, is supported by sediment layers in the region that show sudden marine intrusions. Could it have been both? A long retreat, followed by a final, cataclysmic wave? Even more curiously, the residents of Atlit Yam seem to have made no attempt to escape. Archaeological evidence suggests the village was abandoned suddenly, but not in panic. Personal items, tools, and structures were left intact, undisturbed. It's as if the people simply vanished, or accepted their fate. Why didn't they move inland? Did they not see the signs? Or did something else keep them rooted to this place? Fringe theories propose that Atlit Yam may have held spiritual or cosmological significance. Its placement by a freshwater spring, its megalithic structures, its burial practices, all hinting at a belief system deeply connected to the land and sea. Perhaps they saw the ocean not just as a threat, but as a gateway. There is also the question of how advanced these early people may have been. Some have speculated, cautiously, about the presence of lost knowledge, navigation, engineering, or symbolic systems not typically associated with Neolithic cultures. Underwater imaging has revealed potential alignments in the site's layout that may correspond to solstices or lunar phases. Others argue this is coincidence, reading modern interpretations into ancient patterns. Still, the questions persist. Why is Atlit Yam so well preserved when so many similar settlements have vanished without trace? What did these early people understand about their environment, about the movements of water and earth, that we have yet to fully grasp? And what does it mean that a society so old, so far removed from our modern world, left behind traces of care, structure, and perhaps even reverence? The sea here has been both protector and destroyer. It has hidden the site from human eyes for millennia, preserving it in silence. But with each new dive, each layer of silt brushed away, the story grows more intricate. A well, a stone circle, a mother and child. These are not just artifacts. They are echoes, whispers from a time when the world was still young, and humans stood on the edge of the known. Was Atlit Yam simply a village drowned by time? Or was it a chapter in a deeper story? One still being written by tides and tectonics, by memory and myth. From the sunken stone circles of Atlit Yam, we now leave the warmth of the Mediterranean behind, and turn toward a colder, harsher coast, where the sea is gray, the sky often low, and the tides seem to breathe with a will of their own. Here, in the mudflats of the North Frisian Wadden Sea, lies a legend swallowed by storm and salt. This is Rungholt, sometimes called the Atlantis of the North Sea. At first glance, there is little to see. Stretching for miles off the coast of northern Germany, the Wadden Sea is a vast, shifting landscape of tidal flats and marshlands. It's a place where the boundary between land and water is never fixed. Twice daily, the ocean recedes, exposing a world of slick mud, shallow pools, and the whispering calls of seabirds. Then, the tide returns, erasing the land once again. But beneath this landscape, beneath centuries of silt, peat, and saltwater, lie the remains of a town. Its name is spoken softly in local folklore, sometimes with awe, sometimes with warning. Rungholt. According to historical records and legend alike, Rungholt was once a prosperous trading port, part of the medieval kingdom of Friesland. In the 13th and 14th centuries, the region saw thriving maritime commerce. Ships came and went, loaded with salt, wool, and grain. Canals crisscrossed the flat countryside, connecting villages and marketplaces. Rungholt, it's said, was the jewel among them, a wealthy settlement whose church towers rose proudly above the marshes. But all of it vanished. On January 16, 1362, a violent storm, later called the Grote Mundrinke, or Great Drowning of Men, swept across the North Sea. Fueled by high tides and a deep low-pressure system, the storm surge inundated vast stretches of the coast. Estimates suggest that tens of thousands of people may have died. Rungholt, according to chronicles, was among the towns swallowed whole by the sea. What makes Rungholt so intriguing is not merely that it disappeared, but how quickly. Some accounts claim the storm came without warning. Others say the sea rose not only in fury, but with purpose. Local legend tells of a town too arrogant, too proud. Its people, it is said, mocked the church and the natural order. Some versions speak of a farmer who taunted a priest by watering his fields on the Sabbath, daring God to stop him. The storm, then, was not merely weather, it was judgment. Of course, historians and climatologists offer more grounded explanations. The region's geography is uniquely vulnerable. Much of it sits at or below sea level, protected only by fragile dikes. In the 14th century, these defenses were primitive at best. The land itself, composed of soft peat and alluvial soil, was easily eroded. Combined with shifting currents and rising sea levels, the fate of a town like Rungholt was tragically plausible. And yet, despite centuries of searching, no complete map of Rungholt has ever been confirmed. For decades, it was treated as more myth than memory. Even today, its exact location remains partially obscured, but pieces have begun to surface. In the early 20th century, after severe storms scoured the tidal flats, fragments of medieval structures began to appear. Timbers from buildings, bricks from walls, and shards of pottery. Archaeologists soon joined the search, mapping out subtle patterns hidden in the mud. Then, in 1921, the remains of a church foundation were discovered near the Hallig island of Sudfall. Over time, researchers uncovered drainage ditches, wooden paths, and remnants of dikes, suggesting not just a village, but a complex and engineered landscape. Rungholt, it seemed, was real. Still, mysteries remain. For all the material evidence, no complete structure has survived. Most of what we know comes in fragments: scattered bricks, rotted beams, lost artifacts pulled from beneath layers of sediment. The tides both reveal and conceal. And the questions only deepen. Why did a town so clearly advanced in its construction fall so easily? Why were so few survivors mentioned in contemporary records? Could the entire settlement have been lost in a single night? Some have proposed that Rungholt was not just one town, but part of a larger network. An early urban center whose full scope we've yet to understand. Others suggest the stories surrounding its wealth and decadence may have been exaggerated after the fact, part of a cautionary tale used by later writers and preachers. And then, there are stranger theories. Some believe that Rungholt, like Atlantis, has become a symbol of forgotten knowledge, a society that once understood how to live with the sea, but ultimately failed to heed its warnings. They point to the precision of its dikes, the scale of its hydraulic engineering, and the efficiency of its trade networks. Could it be that Rungholt held a deeper understanding of environmental balance, an understanding lost when the storm came? Still others wonder about the cause of the 1362 storm itself. Was it simply a natural disaster, an unfortunate convergence of meteorological factors, or part of a broader climatic shift? The mid-14th century marked the beginning of the Little Ice Age, a period of cooling that brought erratic weather, crop failures, and social upheaval across Europe. Was the drowning of Rungholt just one ripple in a larger chaotic pattern? Whatever the truth, the sea has not finished with Rungholt. To this day, archaeologists venture out into the tidal flats during low tide, navigating by GPS and memory, hoping the next storm might unearth a clue. With each shift in the sand, a new piece may emerge. A clasp, a tool, a buried foundation. But each tide also threatens to erase what's left, sweeping it further into obscurity. And so, the town remains in limbo. Not quite legend, not fully known. Is Rungholt merely a medieval cautionary tale, or a lost chapter of human resilience and hubris? What else lies hidden beneath the silt and salt, waiting for the sea to speak once more. From the stories of lost villages swallowed by storms, we now shift our focus to the soft murmur of ancient walls. Walls that have withstood the steady advance of time and tide, yet remain veiled in mystery. Tucked away on the serene shores of Italy's Adriatic coast, far from the busy streets of modern cities, there lies a submerged treasure whose name is almost forgotten by history. Villa Pisoni. Unlike the grandiose sunken cities or monuments of myth, Villa Pisoni was once a quiet Roman estate, a place for leisure, for luxury, and for private contemplation. The villa was part of a sprawling complex, perched above the sea on a gentle rise near the modern town of Caorle, not far from Venice. But today, it exists not in the air, but beneath the waves. Diving into the waters here is like stepping into a quiet dream, where time itself seems to pause. The sea is a cool, clear blue, its depths opening up to reveal the contours of stonework. Ancient walls, weathered yet still defined. The faint outline of mosaic floors, decorated with geometric patterns that hint at once intricate designs. Here, the relics of luxury live on. Not in the grand halls of empires or emperors, but in the remnants of an aristocratic retreat. It's difficult to imagine the villa as anything other than a forgotten corner of the Roman Empire. Its story begins, as so many do, with time and tide. When it was first constructed, likely during the first few centuries CE, it must have been an elegant haven overlooking the Adriatic. A place of escape for Roman elites, a hub of social gatherings and wealth. The land around it was likely cultivated, thriving with vineyards and olive groves, as these were staples of the Mediterranean lifestyle. Yet, it was not meant to last forever. Sometime during the 5th century, the villa began to sink, likely due to a combination of natural shifts in the land and the sea. Earthquakes, storms, and the gradual rising of the Adriatic all contributed to the gradual flooding of the area. By the time the medieval period began, the villa was already well submerged. Today, only the barest remains peak above the waterline, with much of its grandeur hidden beneath layers of silt and sediment. And yet, what remains is enough to spark curiosity and wonder. The first significant discovery of Villa Pisoni was made in the 1960s, when fishermen and local divers stumbled upon the submerged site while navigating the shallow waters. Over time, archaeologists began to take interest. They carefully mapped out sections of the villa, including a central courtyard, several rooms, and what seemed to be the remnants of an elaborate bathhouse. The most remarkable feature of the site was the discovery of well-preserved mosaics, floral patterns, and geometric designs that hinted at the villa's former splendor. Despite the lack of fully excavated structures, some believe that the villa's mosaics could hold a clue to its eventual abandonment. The pattern suggests the villa may have been part of a larger complex, a thriving center that at some point transitioned from a coastal retreat into a working estate. Could the sea have played a role in that transition? Were the waters rising as the region was restructured? Still, no one can say for certain. As researchers comb through the remains of Villa Pisoni, they are left with more questions than answers. What caused the final collapse of the estate? Was it simply the relentless power of nature, storms, floods, the rise of the Adriatic? Or was there something more? The villa's mosaics, which seem to depict both domestic scenes and nature motifs, could suggest a connection to higher cultural or even religious practices. The remains of what could be a bathhouse are equally telling, suggesting that Villa Pisoni might not have been simply a place of leisure, but one tied to Roman practices of health and purification, activities often linked to rituals of a spiritual or social nature. Perhaps the most compelling mystery lies in the preservation of the site. Unlike many submerged Roman structures, Villa Pisoni remains relatively untouched. Its mosaics have not been scoured away by the relentless movement of tides. Its stonework, though eroded, still stands, giving the impression that the villa was not simply forgotten, but hidden away, preserved by the quiet sea. Why then has Villa Pisoni remained so elusive? Despite its proximity to Venice and the wealth of historical exploration around the region, the villa has received little attention compared to other underwater ruins of the Roman Empire. Is it because the site is too submerged, its remains too scattered? Or is there something more subtle at play? Something the sea, in its eternal patience, is yet to reveal. Some have speculated that there are untold treasures buried beneath the villa's floor. Perhaps statues, relics, or artifacts of immense value, waiting to be uncovered. Others suggest that the villa was more than just a home for the elite, but might have played a significant role in the trade or politics of the region. Could the site have been a gathering place for prominent figures of the time? Was there an important meeting or event that led to its eventual submersion? The natural erosion of the site is also a significant factor. As centuries have passed, more and more of the villa's artifacts have been claimed by the sea. This constant push and pull between discovery and destruction has led some to believe that Villa Pisoni, in some way, is meant to remain hidden, preserved not for human eyes, but for the ocean's quiet keeping. Could it be that the villa was abandoned not out of necessity, but as part of a cultural or spiritual act of surrender? The sea, after all, does not forget. It remembers the lives and legacies that have been swallowed by its depths. The questions raised by the villa's remains are not easily answered. How many more stories are buried beneath these waters, silent, waiting to be understood? Is Villa Pisoni simply a quiet relic of the past, or does it hold a secret? One the sea has kept hidden for over a millennium. What truths might still lie within its submerged rooms, waiting for a time when they may finally be revealed? From the sunken villa of Pisoni, we now shift to another enigma that lies just beneath the waves. But this one is not quite like the others. For here, where the turquoise waters of the Bahamas meet the soft white sands of the Bimini Islands, a strange formation lies hidden, half submerged, half forgotten. The Bimini Road, often called the Bimini Wall, is a submerged stretch of stone pavement that has sparked wonder, curiosity, and speculation for decades. Lying just off the coast of North Bimini Island, the formation is made up of large rectangular limestone blocks, arranged in what appears to be a straight line, extending beneath the water. From the surface, the road is barely noticeable, only the occasional glimpse of a submerged rock here and there. But when the waters are calm and the light strikes just right, the shape begins to take form. The stones seem to align perfectly, as though placed deliberately by human hands. At first glance, it might appear to be an ordinary natural formation, a geological oddity shaped by time and tide. But the precision of the blocks and their unnerving regularity have led many to wonder, is this really just nature's work? Some believe that the Bimini Road is evidence of an ancient man-made structure. It stretches over half a mile beneath the waves, creating a path that some think once led to a forgotten city, or perhaps even a civilization lost to time. These stones, roughly 30 to 40 feet long and 15 to 20 feet wide, do not appear to be the result of natural erosion. Instead, they resemble the remnants of a road, a pathway deliberately constructed to lead somewhere. There is something undeniably intriguing about the way the blocks sit, side by side, in perfect alignment. The seeming precision challenges our understanding of what ancient civilizations were capable of. Could this be evidence of a civilization that predates known history? A civilization capable of engineering with a skill and craftsmanship beyond what we typically associate with ancient cultures? But what civilization could have left behind such a structure? The most popular theory, one that has captured the imagination of many, is that the Bimini Road is the remnants of Atlantis. The theory links the formation to the legendary island city described by the philosopher Plato, an advanced civilization, wealthy and powerful, but eventually consumed by the ocean in a single day and night of catastrophic floods. Plato's account of Atlantis, though considered more myth than history, has sparked the imaginations of adventurers and theorists for centuries. Some believe the Bimini Road is a piece of evidence that Atlantis did, indeed, exist, and that its final remnants lie submerged in the waters around the Bimini Islands. The argument is compelling, at least on the surface. Plato's dialogues described Atlantis as a great city located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the modern-day Strait of Gibraltar, and emphasized that it sank into the sea after a catastrophic event. Could the Bimini Road be a fragment of this lost civilization? A small piece of the puzzle that has remained hidden beneath the waves for millennia. Yet, skeptics offer a more grounded explanation. Geologists have pointed to the possibility that the Bimini Road is a natural formation, shaped over thousands of years by the action of currents and waves. The limestone blocks could be the result of an ancient coral reef or a naturally occurring structure known as a pavement reef, a type of limestone shelf that forms in shallow coastal waters over time. Indeed, natural formations like this are not uncommon in the ocean. The process of sedimentation, followed by erosion and the movement of water, can create shapes that appear remarkably artificial, even when they are entirely the product of nature. Could the Bimini Road be one of these formations? Could its unnervingly straight lines and right angles be simply the result of random natural forces? But even those who dismiss the idea of Atlantis must admit that the Bimini Road remains a fascinating and unexplained feature. Its location is puzzling, right in the heart of the Caribbean, just off the coast of a small island, easily overlooked by most. The stones are composed of a specific kind of limestone, found only in certain regions of the Caribbean, which raises questions about how and why they came to be arranged in such an ordered fashion here, in the shallow waters of the Bahamas. Some researchers also note that the formation appears to connect with another submerged feature nearby, a larger set of underwater structures that some theorists claim could represent a larger city, a network of roads, or even a port. If the Bimini Road is indeed part of a more extensive site, what might it lead to? Could there be more submerged ruins waiting to be uncovered by the tides? Perhaps even more perplexing is the fact that this mystery continues to defy resolution. Despite numerous investigations and surveys, no definitive conclusion has been reached. Archaeologists, oceanographers, and historians have all weighed in, but the lack of concrete evidence leaves room for doubt. The more we learn, the more questions arise. Was the Bimini Road part of a long-lost civilization, or is it merely a fluke of nature? An uncanny series of rocks shaped by time and tides. The theories abound, each one as compelling as the last. Perhaps it is a man-made structure, a road leading to something greater, lost beneath the sea. Or perhaps it is nothing more than a natural formation that has captivated our imaginations by appearing too perfect to be purely geological. And what of the possible connection to Atlantis? Could the Bimini Road be a sign that the legend is not just myth, but a shadow of something real? Something more ancient, more mysterious, and more profound than we can yet understand. What is the true nature of the Bimini Road? Is it an ancient path, a forgotten piece of history, or simply the ocean's playful illusion? Perhaps, like so many of the ocean's mysteries, the answer is not yet meant to be known. The sea holds its secrets close, revealing only what it chooses, when it chooses. And perhaps the Bimini Road, like other sunken wonders, will remain submerged in uncertainty, awaiting the day when the tide might offer a clearer view. As the waves gently lap against the shores of the Bay of Bengal, there lies a secret beneath the water, a hidden world frozen in time. Deep beneath the surface of the sea, submerged in the silken depths off the coast of Mahabalipuram, India, are the ruins of a once great city, one that was long thought to have vanished without a trace. The submerged temples of Mahabalipuram, a mysterious, awe-inspiring complex of ancient stone structures, lie waiting just below the waves. Their existence was first brought to light in the 2000s, when sonar scans revealed an enigmatic pattern just offshore, a collection of submerged walls and statues resembling what was once a grand architectural site. Over the years, the ruins have come to represent one of the most profound mysteries of the Indian Ocean. What happened to this once flourishing city? Why did it disappear into the depths of the sea? Mahabalipuram, located on the southeastern coast of India, was once a thriving port city during the 7th and 8th centuries, under the rule of the Pallava dynasty. The city was renowned for its magnificent temples, rock-cut sculptures, and intricate carvings, and it was a cultural and religious hub. One of the most famous landmarks of Mahabalipuram is the Shore Temple, perched at the water's edge, built in the 8th century. But beyond this well-known site lies the submerged wonder that has captivated researchers and explorers alike. The discovery of the submerged temples has raised as many questions as it has answered. The remains are located approximately 15 meters below the surface of the water, a depth that suggests the temples were submerged at some point after their construction. The layout of the site resembles that of other structures found in Mahabalipuram, with large blocks of stone, intricate carvings, and what appear to be giant statues. From the surface, there is little to hint at the grandeur of the lost temples lying beneath the water. But once you dive beneath the surface, the complexity and scale of the site become apparent. The most remarkable feature of the submerged temples is the evidence of an intentional construction. Massive stone structures, including pillars and temples, lie scattered across the seabed, many of which show signs of having been carefully carved and shaped. The architecture aligns closely with the Pallava style found at other sites in Mahabalipuram, suggesting that these underwater ruins were once part of the same kingdom. The existence of these submerged structures has led some to believe that they represent a once grand part of the city. Perhaps even the main temple complex, or the city's central religious hub. Theories about how this city ended up submerged abound. One prevailing theory is that the temples and the city sank due to a massive natural disaster, perhaps an earthquake or a tsunami. Coastal regions are often vulnerable to tectonic shifts, and India's southern coast is no stranger to seismic activity. The region's history is marked by sudden and catastrophic events, such as the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, which caused widespread destruction. Could something similar have occurred centuries ago, bringing an entire city and its sacred sites beneath the waves? The ancient texts of India, like the Mahabharata and the Puranas, are filled with references to vast floods and the sinking of cities. While these texts are often viewed as mythological, some wonder if they are preserving memories of real historical events. Could these submerged temples be the remnants of a city that was lost not just to the sea, but to time itself? In addition to the mainstream theories of natural disaster, some have suggested a more speculative explanation, that the city of Mahabalipuram was deliberately submerged either as an act of cultural or religious significance, or as a result of political turmoil. Could there be a hidden, deliberate reason behind the city's sinking, as suggested by certain fringe theories? Some have even wondered if the temples were constructed with an awareness of potential floods or rising sea levels, suggesting the temples were built with the foresight of eventual submersion. Could the Pallava dynasty, aware of the changing tides, have created a city with the idea that it would eventually disappear beneath the sea? While this theory lacks concrete evidence, it adds a layer of mystique to the ongoing enigma of the submerged temples. Even without venturing into the realm of speculation, the evidence of human ingenuity and religious devotion found beneath the sea is undeniably striking. It's not just the temples and statues themselves that intrigue, but the skill involved in their construction. The sheer scale of the architecture, combined with the precision of the carvings, suggests a society deeply invested in both artistic expression and religious dedication. How did such a grand city rise to power, only to be swallowed by the sea? What role did the temples play in the society of Mahabalipuram? And what did their submersion mean for the people who once called the city home? As of now, the submerged temples remain largely unexplored, as the conditions of the site are difficult to study. The waters are often murky, and the depth and distance from the shore make it a challenging site for archaeological teams. Nonetheless, there have been occasional reports from divers and underwater archaeologists who have explored the site. These reports paint a picture of a place frozen in time, stone structures and statues still standing, though worn by centuries of salt water and shifting tides. The mystery of the submerged temples of Mahabalipuram is one that continues to linger, unresolved and uncertain. Some scholars believe that more exploration and research could yield answers, offering insights into the history of the Pallava dynasty and the lost city beneath the waves. Others wonder if the sea, in its infinite patience, will keep its secrets forever. Was this a great city that fell victim to the relentless power of nature? Or is there something more hidden beneath the surface? Something yet to be discovered? As the waves gently roll over the site today, the temples remain submerged, waiting for the next tide to reveal more of their story. Perhaps, like so many of the ocean's mysteries, the truth is hidden beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to come to light. Until then, the submerged temples of Mahabalipuram continue to whisper their secrets to those who listen carefully. To the deep, just off the coast of Cuba, beneath the deep blue waves of the Caribbean Sea, lies a haunting enigma: the Cabo de San Antonio ruins. Submerged for centuries, these ruins have remained hidden from view, their true origins shrouded in mystery. Only in recent years has this underwater site caught the attention of explorers, divers, and archaeologists alike. The ruins, sprawling across the seabed, are scattered with what seem to be man-made stone structures, carefully arranged and deliberately shaped. But who built them, and why? These are questions that continue to elude definitive answers. Located off the western tip of Cuba, near the Cape of San Antonio, the site was first discovered in the 2000s, when sonar scans identified unusual patterns on the ocean floor. What appeared to be jagged stone formations were found at a depth of around 650 feet, 200 meters, not far from a known underwater cave system. The discovery was tantalizing. What had been uncovered was far too structured to be purely natural, and the shapes suggested human influence. For centuries, the area had been surrounded by rumors and legends, whispers of sunken civilizations and lost cities. And now, there was evidence, something tangible, something real, waiting to be explored. The most remarkable feature of the Cabo de San Antonio ruins is the sheer scale of the site. Submerged stone walls, large foundations, and rectangular structures that resemble platforms or roads lie spread across the seabed, creating a pattern that hints at the presence of a once thriving city or settlement. Some of the stonework shows signs of advanced masonry, suggesting that the structures were built with precision and care. As researchers continue to study the site, some have even noted the presence of what appear to be pyramidal or stepped formations, which further fuel speculation about the possible purpose and importance of the ruins. What remains most striking about these ruins is their age and their location. The site has been tentatively dated to be over 1,000 years old, although no one can say for certain. Some scholars propose that the structures might belong to an ancient pre-Columbian civilization, perhaps a precursor to the more widely known cultures of Mesoamerica, such as the Maya or the Olmec. But how could such a civilization have existed on an island as remote as Cuba? And why would they build such an elaborate settlement, one that was clearly significant, only to let it sink beneath the waves? Some explanations point to the possibility of a natural disaster, an event so catastrophic that it could have submerged an entire city, leaving it to be swallowed by the ocean. Earthquakes, tsunamis, or other seismic events are not out of the realm of possibility, especially in a region as tectonically active as the Caribbean. Yet, the absence of definitive evidence for a single catastrophic event complicates this theory. Could the settlement have gradually succumbed to the rise in sea levels over centuries, a slow and silent drowning that erased it from the historical record? Others have suggested that the ruins might be much older, possibly even predating known human settlements in the Caribbean by thousands of years. If this is the case, it could imply the existence of an ancient civilization long forgotten by history, one that was somehow able to master construction techniques and engineering skills that we have only recently rediscovered. Could the Cabo de San Antonio ruins be evidence of a civilization that developed in isolation long before recorded history? The possibility is intriguing, and yet it remains unproven, leaving behind only questions. In recent years, further exploration of the site has revealed even more perplexing features. Divers have reported seeing large stone blocks with intricate carvings on some of the submerged structures, symbols and patterns that appear to tell a story, or perhaps hold a deeper meaning. However, no one has yet been able to decipher these symbols, and their significance remains a subject of debate. Are they the remnants of a lost culture's religious or ceremonial practices? Or are they purely decorative, meant to showcase the aesthetic sophistication of the civilization that created them? Equally puzzling is the fact that the ruins appear to be perfectly aligned with certain celestial bodies, suggesting that those who built them had a deep understanding of astronomy. This has led some researchers to wonder if the settlement was not only a center of daily life, but also a place of religious or astronomical significance. Could the structures have served a purpose beyond mere habitation? Could they have been designed to align with the stars, marking the passage of time or serving as a form of cosmic observatory? Despite all of this, one of the most troubling aspects of the site is that we know so little about it. Access to the location is difficult due to its depth and the surrounding underwater terrain, which makes thorough exploration both dangerous and expensive. Most of the research done thus far has been based on sonar scans, photographs taken by underwater robots, and limited dives to the site. While the ruins are undeniably real, many of the finer details, such as the purpose of the structures, the identity of their creators, and the circumstances surrounding the city's submersion, remain lost in the depths. Some fringe theories suggest that the ruins might even be evidence of an ancient seafaring culture, one capable of navigating vast distances across the ocean, long before the well-known explorers of the Age of Discovery. Could these ruins be the remains of a forgotten civilization that once spanned the Caribbean and beyond? Could they be remnants of the legendary Atlantis, the lost city that has been the subject of myth and speculation for millennia? At this point, however, these theories remain speculative, and without more concrete evidence, they are difficult to substantiate. What we do know is that the Cabo de San Antonio ruins are real, and they are just one example of the many mysteries that lie hidden beneath the surface of our oceans. As long as the site remains largely unexplored, questions will persist. Why did this settlement vanish beneath the sea? Was it a natural disaster that sealed its fate? Or was it something more mysterious? And what other secrets lie in the depths, waiting to be uncovered? With each new discovery, we are reminded that the ocean holds countless enigmas, some that may one day shed light on the ancient past, and others that may remain forever out of reach. The Cabo de San Antonio ruins are just one piece of this larger puzzle, and perhaps, with time, we may uncover the full story that lies beneath the waves. As the water gently shifts over the ruins, what remains hidden, lost, or forgotten? What lies beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to be uncovered? Far beneath the calm, crystal-clear waters surrounding the Kurama Islands, in the Okinawa prefecture of Japan, lies an underwater site that has intrigued divers and archaeologists for decades: the Kurama stone structures. Discovered in the 1990s, these submerged formations have baffled researchers with their apparent design and precise construction. Spread across the seafloor, at depths ranging from 20 to 30 meters, the stone formations resemble a series of walls, terraces, and platforms, not unlike the remains of ancient ruins. The site itself is difficult to access due to its location in the vast Pacific, but the shapes and structures visible to divers through the blue waters raise more questions than answers. The most striking aspect of the Kurama stone structures is the unnatural arrangement of massive stones. Unlike typical naturally occurring underwater formations, like coral reefs or volcanic rock, these stones appear to have been intentionally placed. Large rectangular blocks, some weighing several tons, are aligned with startling precision. Some appear to form straight lines, others appear to be arranged in geometric patterns, creating an eerie impression that someone once built these formations with purpose. While some researchers are inclined to dismiss the site as a natural geological formation, others argue that it shows too much evidence of design to be purely coincidental. The stones, which appear to have been quarried, exhibit smooth faces, sharp angles, and an overall symmetry that suggests human craftsmanship, or at least the involvement of an intelligent force capable of monumental engineering. But if these structures are man-made, then who could have constructed them, and why? And if they were built by humans, when and for what purpose? These are questions that have yet to be answered. Theories about the origins of the Kurama stone structures span the spectrum from conventional to speculative. Mainstream theories typically suggest that these stones may be the remnants of an ancient harbor, part of a long-lost civilization that once thrived in the region. Could these stones belong to an early Japanese settlement, perhaps dating back thousands of years? The idea of an ancient maritime culture, one with sophisticated engineering knowledge, is not far-fetched, considering Japan's rich seafaring history. If this is the case, the question remains: why would such a settlement have submerged beneath the sea? Geological theories are also widely considered. Some researchers propose that the structures could have been part of a naturally occurring submerged land formation, with erosion or other environmental factors gradually reshaping and rearranging the stones. This theory, however, does not easily explain the level of precision displayed in the alignment and construction of the stones. Nature is capable of creating curious formations, but the evidence at Karama points to a level of organization that suggests intentional human intervention, rather than randomness. Then, there are the more speculative theories, which veer into the realm of the extraordinary. Could the Karama stone structures be evidence of an ancient, lost civilization, one with technological prowess far beyond what we understand today? The idea that an advanced civilization may have once lived in the area, possibly predating recorded history, is a tantalizing one. If this were true, what other secrets might lie submerged in the waters surrounding Japan? Could this site, perhaps, be the remnants of a forgotten empire, lost to time and natural catastrophe? Some have even suggested that the Karama stone structures could be the remains of a more enigmatic, perhaps even mythological, culture. Could they be the work of an advanced race, one that existed long before the first human civilizations were recorded? In this theory, the structures are linked not just to an ancient past, but to a time when civilizations, possibly lost to the ages, reached far beyond what we have come to understand about early human development. Is it possible that the structures are the remnants of such an extraordinary culture, whose existence has been erased from history? Perhaps more intriguing, though, is the possibility that the Karama stone structures are older than we currently believe. Some estimates suggest that the structures might have been built as far back as 10,000 years ago. If this is true, it would place them in a time long before the rise of early Japan, during a period when the seas were lower and land masses that are now submerged may have been above water. Could these structures have once been part of an island, now drowned by rising sea levels, following the end of the last ice age? The idea of a prehistoric culture existing before our historical records could fundamentally change the way we view early human civilization. Another intriguing possibility is that the site could be connected to the ancient and largely unexplained phenomenon of the Yonaguni Monument, located to the southwest of the Karama Islands. Like the Karama stone structures, the Yonaguni Monument is a submerged site that features massive stone formations with geometric shapes. Some believe the two sites could be connected, potentially forming part of a broader network of lost cities or ancient underwater ruins that once dotted the region. Could the Karama structures be part of a greater system of ancient maritime trade, connecting distant cultures long lost to history? Despite all these theories, the truth remains elusive. To date, no comprehensive excavation or study of the site has been conducted due to its depth and the logistical challenges of exploring such submerged ruins. With limited technology and resources, researchers can only speculate about the purpose of the Karama stone structures. Some believe that as underwater archaeology advances, more answers will eventually emerge. But for now, the mystery remains intact. As we dive deeper into the secrets of the ocean, the Karama stone structures stand as an enigmatic testament to the complexities of our past. The ocean has long been a repository for the remnants of civilizations, swallowed by time and tides. With every new discovery beneath the surface, we are reminded that so much of our history still lies hidden beneath the waves, waiting to be unearthed. What are these stone formations? Are they the work of an ancient civilization, or the result of nature's endless sculpting? Will we ever truly understand the story of the Karama stone structures, or will they remain just another puzzle of the deep, offering only tantalizing glimpses into a forgotten past? Perhaps with time, more will be revealed. But until then, we are left with more questions than answers, and an enduring sense of mystery about what lies beneath the sea, as the Mediterranean waves gently lap against the rocky shores of Malta. Just off its northern coast lies an underwater enigma, a series of stone circles buried beneath the sea, At first glance, these submerged formations appear to be the remnants of ancient megalithic structures, eerily similar to the famous stone circles found in the United Kingdom, such as Stonehenge. But these particular stones are not located on land. They rest on the seafloor, some 120 feet beneath the surface, concealed by the weight of time and the ocean itself. The discovery of the stone circles off Malta's coast was made in the early 20th century, yet the site has remained shrouded in mystery. Divers exploring the waters around the island began reporting large stone formations in the 1950s. Over the decades, these submerged circles have drawn increasing attention from archaeologists and historians, sparking debates over their origins and purpose. What, then, do these submerged stone structures signify? Were they once part of an ancient civilization, or have they simply been formed by natural geological processes? The site is scattered with large, carefully arranged stones that form rings and circular patterns, many of which measure several meters in diameter. The alignment of these stones appears deliberate, as though they were placed with intention, yet the exact purpose of these formations remains unknown. Some circles appear to have a single large stone at their center, similar to the arrangement found in megalithic sites like Stonehenge. Others feature smaller stones arranged in symmetrical, concentric patterns. The overall impression is one of purpose, not randomness, but exactly what that purpose was, whether ritualistic, astronomical, or something else entirely, is yet to be determined. Archaeologists have long debated whether these underwater stone circles were man-made, or if they formed naturally. Some have suggested that the stones may have been part of an ancient temple or burial site, now lost to the ravages of time and submerged beneath the sea. Others have proposed that the formation could have been a stone harbor, created by an ancient civilization that once thrived in the Mediterranean. But how could such structures have ended up beneath the waves? The most widely accepted explanation is that these stone circles were once part of a settlement, now submerged due to a rise in sea levels at the end of the last ice age. Thousands of years ago, during a period of warmer temperatures, much of what is now the Mediterranean was a vast, sunken landscape, a world entirely different from the one we know today. In this view, the stone circles might have been built by people who lived on what was once dry land, but over time, rising waters gradually engulfed their world, leaving only the ruins to speak of their existence. If the site is indeed the result of rising sea levels, it would place the construction of the stone circles at a time when the Mediterranean was still a very different place. Some estimates suggest that these formations may date back as far as 10,000 years ago, when Malta was not yet an island, but a part of a larger landmass that stretched far into what is now the Mediterranean Sea. The idea of a lost, ancient civilization living on what is now submerged land is both intriguing and unsettling. Could these stone circles be evidence of a forgotten society, one whose existence has long been erased by the ocean? Yet the mystery deepens when we consider the craftsmanship of the stones themselves. The precision with which they are arranged, along with the size of the stones, raises the question: could a civilization with such advanced knowledge of engineering and stonework have simply disappeared without a trace? Or is it possible that the stones serve a purpose beyond simple construction? Something symbolic, something that transcends the practical? In addition to the more conventional theories, there are those who have suggested more unusual explanations. Could the stone circles be part of an ancient, lost system of astronomical observation, similar to the stone circles found at other ancient sites around the world? The alignment of the stones, in relation to celestial bodies and seasonal changes, might suggest that the builders had a deep understanding of the movements of the stars. Some have even posited that these stones could be remnants of an advanced civilization, with knowledge of astronomy and mathematics far ahead of their time. Could these ancient peoples have used the stone circles for rituals, to track the seasons, or to mark significant celestial events? There are also those who suggest that the stone circles may not be of human origin at all. Some fringe theories propose that these formations are part of a much older, pre-human civilization, or that they were constructed by beings from beyond our planet. These theories, though unproven, invite us to think beyond the known limits of history and ask what we might be overlooking in our understanding of ancient civilizations. Interestingly, no one knows exactly how many stone circles exist off Malta's coast. The murky depths of the Mediterranean, combined with the challenges of underwater archaeology, have made it difficult to fully explore and map the site. The circles may continue to exist in their submerged form, holding secrets and answers that remain just out of reach. What lies in the depths of the Mediterranean could very well change our understanding of early human history, if only we could unlock the mystery of these ancient stones. Some researchers believe that further exploration could reveal more about the structure and purpose of the stone circles. Advances in underwater archaeology, along with improvements in technology, might one day allow us to fully uncover the extent of this submerged site. Until then, we are left with only tantalizing glimpses of a world lost beneath the waves, and the stone circles that continue to defy explanation. What do these mysterious formations mean? Are they the remnants of a lost civilization, submerged by rising seas? Or are they something else, something far older and more enigmatic than we can comprehend? The questions persist, lingering just beneath the surface, waiting for the answers that may yet lie hidden in the depths of the Mediterranean. As we gaze upon the still waters of the sea, we are reminded once again of how much is still hidden beneath, waiting to be discovered. As the sun rises over the vast expanse of Lake Titicaca, its golden rays reflect off the rippling waters, casting fleeting, ethereal patterns across the surface. Nestled high in the Andes, straddling the border between Peru and Bolivia, Lake Titicaca is not only the largest freshwater lake in South America, but it is also one of the highest navigable lakes in the world. Its waters, tranquil yet deep, have long been the subject of myth, reverence, and mystery. For centuries, indigenous peoples have regarded the lake as sacred, a place where the sun and moon were born, according to their ancient beliefs. But beneath the calm surface of this extraordinary lake lies a secret that has both intrigued and puzzled historians and archaeologists for decades: an underwater temple hidden in the depths, awaiting discovery. In the early 2000s, a team of underwater explorers, led by American archaeologist Dr. Gregory L.S., ventured into the murky waters of Lake Titicaca, armed with sonar equipment and diving gear. Their goal was not only to explore the lake's depths, but to uncover the possibility of a long-forgotten structure beneath the surface. What they discovered was both astonishing and perplexing. A complex of stone ruins, eerily reminiscent of ancient temples, lying more than 30 feet below the surface. The underwater structure consists of large stone blocks, meticulously arranged in what appears to be a series of platforms or terraces, echoing the architectural style of other ancient sites found in the region. There are stone walls, submerged staircases, and what seem to be ceremonial platforms, all pointing to the idea that this was once a significant site, carefully crafted and intentionally placed beneath the waters of Lake Titicaca. But why would such a structure be submerged? What purpose did it serve? And how did it end up hidden beneath the water? To understand the answers, or at least to begin to understand them, one must first take a closer look at the cultural and historical context of the lake. For millennia, Lake Titicaca has been considered the cradle of ancient Andean civilization. It is believed to be the birthplace of the Inca Empire, where the great god Viracocha emerged from the waters to create the world. According to local legend, it was from this sacred lake that Viracocha gave life to the first humans. These myths were not only significant to the Inca, but were deeply ingrained in the belief systems of many pre-Inca cultures that once flourished along the shores of the lake, such as the Tiwanaku and Pucara civilizations. The significance of this lake cannot be overstated. Throughout history, civilizations have built grand structures near its shores, hoping to harness its spiritual and mystical energy. Archaeologists have uncovered numerous temples, ceremonial sites, and settlements around the lake. Some of these, like the Isla del Sol and Isla de la Luna, are revered for their connection to ancient Inca cosmology. But despite the wealth of artifacts and ruins discovered on the lake's surface and surrounding islands, no one had anticipated what would be found beneath its waters. The discovery of the underwater temple challenges conventional understanding. The submerged ruins are not the first such structures to be found beneath a body of water. There have been other submerged cities and temples discovered around the world. But the context of this discovery is particularly remarkable. The idea that a sacred temple, potentially built by a pre-Inca civilization, or even the early Incas themselves, could be hidden in a lake that was itself considered divine, is deeply intriguing. Some scholars suggest that this temple was deliberately submerged as part of an ancient ritual, or as a symbol of rebirth. The concept of water as a boundary between life and death is prevalent in many ancient cultures. And for the Andean peoples, the waters of Lake Titicaca held special significance as a portal to the afterlife. Could the temple have been intentionally sunk, either as an offering to the gods, or as a way to mark the end of a spiritual cycle? Others speculate that the rising waters of the lake, caused by climatic changes or tectonic activity, may have gradually submerged the temple over time. It's not uncommon for ancient civilizations to have experienced sudden shifts in their environments, changes that could have led to the loss of their sacred sites, which were swallowed by the encroaching waters. Perhaps this temple was once on land, serving as a focal point for religious or ceremonial practices, only to be slowly submerged as the lake expanded. Yet, another possibility emerges from the theories of fringe historians and alternative archaeologists. Some believe the underwater temple is part of a lost civilization, one far older than the Incas, or even the Tiwanaku. Could this structure be the last remaining trace of a forgotten culture, one that existed long before the known Andean civilizations? The idea of a civilization predating the Inca, which vanished beneath the waters, is an alluring yet speculative hypothesis. Some have even suggested that the temple's underwater location is evidence of a sunken society that possessed knowledge and technology far ahead of its time. Could this submerged temple hold secrets to the origins of the Andean peoples, or perhaps even more ancient, advanced knowledge that has been lost to the sands of time? While these theories are intriguing, they remain speculative at best. However, what cannot be disputed is the existence of the structure itself. The perfectly aligned stone blocks and the clear signs of human craftsmanship beneath the lake's surface suggests that this site was once an important location for its creators. The temple is undoubtedly a monumental discovery, and its implications are profound. Despite the excitement that the underwater temple has stirred in the archaeological community, much remains unknown. The area around the temple has yet to be fully excavated, and the depths of the lake remain a challenge for underwater archaeologists. As technology continues to improve, there is hope that further exploration may reveal more about the temple's purpose and its creators. Could there be more hidden beneath the surface of Lake Titicaca? What other ancient secrets might the lake still hold in its depths? For now, the submerged temple of Lake Titicaca remains one of the most intriguing and mysterious underwater discoveries in the world. It serves as a reminder of the hidden histories that lie beneath the water's surface, waiting for the right moment to be uncovered. As the waters continue to lap against the shores of the sacred lake, the question remains, what else in the deep may still be waiting to be discovered? As the waves of the Arabian Sea gently lap against the coast of western India, there lies a submerged structure shrouded in both history and mystery. Dwarka's submerged bridge. This ancient site, now lying deep beneath the water's surface, has captured the imaginations of explorers, archaeologists, and mystics alike for centuries. The story of Dwarka, once a thriving city at the mouth of the Gomti River, has long been intertwined with legend, its association with the Hindu god Krishna, making it a subject of religious reverence and speculative interest. The city of Dwarka itself is mentioned in numerous ancient texts, including the Mahabharata, where it is described as an awe-inspiring metropolis, complete with towering walls and golden streets, surrounded by the sea. According to the ancient stories, Dwarka was the seat of Krishna's kingdom, a place of unparalleled wealth and divine power. But, as the myth goes, this magnificent city was eventually submerged into the sea, lost to time after Krishna's departure from Earth. To many, the tale of Dwarka's drowning has long been seen as a myth, an allegorical story meant to symbolize the fall of a divine kingdom. However, as with many ancient myths, elements of truth may linger beneath the surface. In the 1980s, the first signs of something more tangible beneath the waves were discovered, when marine archaeologists and researchers began to identify submerged ruins off the coast of modern-day Dwarka. Using sonar imaging, they located stone structures, large, square blocks and pillars, arranged in patterns suggesting human intervention. As further exploration took place, the area revealed more clues: the outlines of a city, the remnants of walls and pathways, and even what seemed to be the vestiges of a bridge, connecting the submerged city to the mainland. This underwater structure, often referred to as Dwarka's submerged bridge, is particularly intriguing. The bridge appears to be a long stretch of stones, laid in a straight line, extending from the shore into the depths of the Arabian Sea. Its purpose, however, is unclear. Some have speculated that it was once a part of the city's ancient infrastructure, connecting Dwarka to the larger world beyond. Others have suggested that it was a ceremonial structure, possibly built to honor Krishna, or as a symbol of the city's divine status. The discovery of this submerged bridge raises numerous questions. How could a bridge of such magnitude have been constructed thousands of years ago, only to vanish beneath the waves? Was this part of an advanced engineering project, far ahead of its time? And if so, why would such a significant structure be submerged, intentionally or otherwise? The most widely accepted explanation for the submersion of Dwarka and its bridge is the rise in sea levels following the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago. As global temperatures warmed, glaciers melted, and sea levels rose dramatically, submerging coastal settlements across the world. In this view, the stone structures and the bridge may have once been part of a thriving city on land, slowly overtaken by the encroaching sea. However, this mainstream explanation fails to explain some of the more curious details of the submerged site. The arrangement of the stone blocks, the apparent precision with which they were laid, and the overall scale of the underwater structures all suggest that the city of Dwarka may have been far more advanced than many are willing to admit. The stones found near the site do not appear to be random or the result of natural processes. Instead, they show signs of human craftsmanship, and their alignment suggests deliberate construction, an intentional design with purpose. Some researchers have even suggested that these submerged structures are far older than the rise of sea levels, possibly dating back to a time long before conventional history has suggested. Could this be evidence of an ancient civilization, advanced in ways that we have yet to fully understand? The Mahabharata tells us that Dwarka was a place of great wealth, a city said to be built by the gods themselves, and possibly constructed with technologies that are no longer available to us today. Could the submerged bridge be a remnant of such a civilization, one that mastered both architecture and the natural world to a degree we still struggle to comprehend? Beyond the mainstream explanations, there are other theories that venture into more speculative territory. Some believe that Dwarka's city, and particularly its submerged bridge, could be the remnants of a lost civilization, one far older than the ancient Indian cultures we know. Some proponents of these ideas point to the advanced nature of the structures found underwater, suggesting that the civilization which built them may have had access to technologies that were later lost to history. Could Dwarka, in its time, have been a technological and cultural hub, one whose advancements were eventually wiped out, swallowed by the sea in a cataclysmic event? Adding to the mystery is the fact that local legends often describe the sinking of Dwarka in terms that are strikingly similar to the descriptions of other ancient submerged cities around the world. Many of these myths, from cultures across the globe, describe the sudden, violent flooding of cities or entire civilizations. Could the story of Dwarka's submersion be based on a real, catastrophic event, one that swept away a once great city and left only its remnants to be remembered in myth and folklore? And then, there is the question of the bridge itself. Was it truly a bridge? Could it have been a causeway, a sacred path used in rituals to connect the city to the divine, as some suggest? Or perhaps it was a more practical structure, used to facilitate trade and communication between Dwarka and other lands, as others propose. Regardless of its exact function, the fact that such a structure exists beneath the sea hints at something far more complex than simply a sunken city. The submerged ruins of Dwarka, including its enigmatic bridge, remain a subject of intense speculation. While some scholars insist that the evidence points to a simple explanation of rising sea levels and natural submersion, the peculiar precision of the stonework and the sheer scale of the site suggests that there is more to this mystery than meets the eye. Perhaps the ruins of Dwarka, both above and below the surface, hold secrets that are still beyond our understanding. What happened to Dwarka? Was it a city lost to time and nature, or is it the remnant of a civilization far older and more advanced than we can fully comprehend? Could the submerged bridge be a key to understanding a forgotten world? A world whose rise and fall were recorded not in the annals of history, but in the deep, quiet waters of the Arabian Sea. As we continue to explore and study this submerged site, we are left with more questions than answers, inviting us to wonder what might still be hidden beneath the waves, waiting for the moment when it is finally brought to light. As the Mediterranean waters lap gently against the shores of Alexandria, Egypt, a hidden mystery lies just beneath the surface. A submerged world of ancient stone columns, their marble and granite forms rising from the deep, silently bearing witness to a civilization long past. The submerged columns near Alexandria are not just relics of a forgotten age. They are a poignant reminder of a time when the city was a beacon of learning, culture, and power, an intellectual and architectural marvel. The columns, which rest in the clear waters just off the coast, are part of what was once the Pharos of Alexandria, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Though the Great Lighthouse of Alexandria, constructed in the 3rd century BCE, no longer stands, it's said to have once guided ships safely into the harbor, its light visible for miles. Today, only remnants of this ancient wonder remain. Among these remnants are the submerged columns, their bases planted firmly in the ocean floor, the tops only faintly visible in the shifting tides. As divers and archaeologists have explored the site, they've uncovered a series of ancient structures and statues, including the striking stone columns. These columns are believed to be part of a grand portico, or perhaps a temple complex, that once stood at the edge of the harbor. They are intricately carved and adorned with designs that speak of a sophisticated civilization, one that blended art, science, and architecture with unparalleled mastery. The sheer scale of these columns hints at a monumental city that could rival anything we imagine today. Yet, the questions surrounding the submerged columns are not simply about what was once there, but about what may have happened to it. How did these structures, so massive and enduring, end up beneath the waves? The most widely accepted theory is that a combination of natural disasters, earthquakes and tsunamis, contributed to the sinking of Alexandria's coastal areas. Over time, the city, which had already been affected by multiple seismic events, succumbed to the pressures of the shifting tectonic plates beneath the Mediterranean. This, they say, caused parts of the city's magnificent harbor and the surrounding buildings to slip beneath the surface of the sea. However, the scale of destruction suggested by the submerged ruins raises an important question. Was it only natural forces at play, or is there something more to the story? Could human intervention have played a role in the destruction of these monumental structures? Ancient texts speak of the city's fall and the threats it faced, from external invasions to internal political upheaval. But none of these accounts offer a clear explanation for the sudden disappearance of Alexandria's harbor and its monumental buildings. Some archaeologists have proposed that the submerged columns and other ruins are part of a larger, more complex architectural site than we currently understand. The structures may have been part of a temple dedicated to the gods, with the columns serving as sacred markers that aligned with the stars or celestial events. Alexandria was, after all, home to the famous Library of Alexandria, a repository of knowledge and a hub of scientific study, where scholars like Euclid and Archimedes once worked. Could the city's architects and engineers have had a deeper understanding of astronomy and geology, integrating cosmic and earthly knowledge into their buildings? These columns, rising from the sea, could then be seen not only as physical remnants of the past, but as symbols of a greater, lost knowledge. A knowledge possibly lost to both time and the ocean. Yet, while mainstream theories suggest a natural disaster or a gradual submergence due to rising sea levels, there are more speculative ideas about the fate of Alexandria's submerged remains. Some have proposed that the city's fall was not purely the result of geological forces, but perhaps an event of catastrophic proportions, involving unknown technologies or an unexplained force of nature. Could ancient Alexandria have had access to knowledge or resources that allowed for the creation of such monumental structures, resources lost to history after a forgotten calamity? This line of thought evokes the mysteries surrounding other sunken cities, those that have vanished beneath the sea, seemingly without explanation, leaving behind only fragments and puzzling remains. The submerged columns off Alexandria may be part of a larger pattern. Ancient, technologically advanced cities lost to time, their secrets still resting just below the surface. In recent years, some explorers have suggested that the submerged columns near Alexandria are not the only hidden treasures lying in the waters off the coast. Evidence of other buildings, statues, and streets has been uncovered, creating the possibility of an entire sunken city lying beneath the Mediterranean. What if this city represents something far older than we've been led to believe? Could these columns mark the remains of a pre-Greek civilization, a culture whose knowledge and technologies were far more advanced than the world realized? This brings us to the heart of the mystery. What really happened to Alexandria's submerged ruins? While natural disasters are a plausible explanation, they don't account for every detail. The presence of such carefully constructed columns, arranged in symmetrical patterns, speaks to a level of sophistication that doesn't seem to align perfectly with the explanations we have. It raises the question, could this grand city have fallen not only because of tectonic shifts, but because it had become too powerful or too knowledgeable? Did it hold secrets that, if revealed, could reshape our understanding of history? And then, there's the mystery of the Pharos lighthouse itself, said to have stood as one of the tallest structures of its time. Some believe that the lighthouse's light was powered by advanced engineering, perhaps using principles we haven't yet uncovered. Is it possible that the lighthouse, and the city that surrounded it, was more than just a beacon for sailors? Could it have had other purposes, possibly related to astronomical observation or energy generation? And if so, what happened to the knowledge of how to harness such power? As we reflect on the submerged columns near Alexandria, we are reminded that these are not just stones at the bottom of the sea. They are artifacts of a lost civilization, a civilization that, despite its incredible achievements, is now lost to time and tide. What remains of Alexandria's grand harbor, and its now drowned temples and streets, leaves us with more questions than answers. What was the true purpose of these buildings, and what other knowledge might lie hidden beneath the Mediterranean waters? The mystery persists, and as long as the columns rise from the deep, they will continue to whisper secrets of a bygone world, secrets that, perhaps, we are not yet ready to understand. What stories do they hold? What truths lie beneath the waves, waiting to be uncovered once again? Beneath the warm, azure waters of the Pacific Ocean, off the eastern coast of Pompeii, lies a network of submerged ruins that have long intrigued explorers and researchers. The underwater roads of Non-Madol, often referred to as the Venice of the Pacific, are one of the most captivating and mysterious underwater sites in the world. Like roads leading into the depths of time, these submerged stone structures hint at a once thriving city that has been lost to the sea, buried beneath centuries of shifting tides and rising waters. Non-Madol, an ancient city built on a series of artificial islands, is situated on the coral reef of Pompeii, an island in the Federated States of Micronesia. Known for its striking stone walls and intricate system of canals, Non-Madol was once a ceremonial and political center, believed to have been the home of powerful rulers and priests. The city's structures, composed of massive basalt stones, are arranged in neat, well-planned rows, forming both solid walls and intricate pathways that crisscross through the islands. Today, these structures are surrounded by a veil of mystery, their origins and purpose still a subject of intense speculation. While the city of Non-Madol sits above the waterline, the roads that lead to it and the canals within the city extend far beneath the surface of the sea. These submerged pathways, though largely unexplored, suggest that the ancient people of Non-Madol may have had an intricate understanding of both engineering and the natural world. How did they create these roads, and what was their purpose? What remains beneath the surface, hidden by the shifting tides, and what secrets might these submerged roads reveal about the lost civilization of Non-Madol? The underwater roads themselves are part of a complex system that stretches across multiple islands, linking the various sections of the city. The stones that form these roads are said to have been transported from distant locations, some of which were as far as several miles away. The process of moving such large stones, some weighing several tons, has sparked considerable debate. Some theories suggest that the inhabitants of Nan Madol use simple tools and methods to drag, roll, or float the stones into place. However, the sheer scale of the task raises questions. Was this feat of engineering truly accomplished with only the technology available at the time, or was there something more at play? Could these roads, which appear so meticulously laid out, have been part of a grand design that we are only beginning to understand? In addition to the roads, the submerged ruins of Nan Madol also include underground chambers and stone platforms, many of which seem to have been part of ceremonial or religious practices. These chambers, some of which are located beneath the waterline, have led researchers to believe that the city may have had a sacred purpose, perhaps functioning as a site for rituals, the practice of spiritual ceremonies, or the interment of the deceased. The layout of the city itself suggests a highly organized and sophisticated society, one that had both artistic and architectural prowess. However, beyond these verified facts lies a layer of speculation. Some researchers have proposed that the submerged roads and ruins of Nan Madol might not simply be the remains of a city destroyed by natural forces over time. Instead, they suggest that the underwater paths could be the remnants of a civilization that had been aware of, or even intended to build their city in harmony with the water. Could the city have been designed with an understanding of the rising and falling tides, the movement of the water, and the forces of nature that shaped the island? Was Nan Madol built as a city in constant dialogue with the sea, where the roads were not simply functional, but symbolic, representing the interconnectedness of the people and the natural world around them? Adding to the mystery are the many myths and legends surrounding the creation of Nan Madol. Local traditions speak of the Saudeleur dynasty, the rulers who are said to have established the city. According to these tales, the Saudeleur rulers were believed to have had godlike powers, using their abilities to command the forces of nature. Some accounts even suggest that the construction of Nan Madol was aided by supernatural means, with the stones being moved by spirits or the gods themselves. Could the intricate design of Nan Madol be evidence of a civilization with knowledge and capabilities that surpassed anything we can comprehend today? Beyond the local legends, some more speculative theories suggest that the submerged roads and islands of Nan Madol may have been the work of a lost, ancient civilization. Could the people of Nan Madol have been part of a culture that was far older and more advanced than we realize? Some proponents of this theory point to the fact that similar megalithic structures have been found in other parts of the world, raising the possibility that ancient civilizations were connected by more than just trade. They may have shared knowledge of architecture, engineering, and even celestial alignment that has long been lost to history. Could Nan Madol be a remnant of such a civilization, its knowledge now buried beneath the waves? As we continue to explore the submerged ruins of Nan Madol, we are left with more questions than answers. What really happened to the city? Was it lost due to natural events, such as rising sea levels, earthquakes, or tsunamis, which may have caused parts of the city to submerge over time? Or could there have been an intentional, gradual sinking, perhaps to align with the cyclical rhythms of the tides, as some have speculated? Was Nan Madol meant to be a city in constant interaction with the water, its roads and platforms designed to be part of the natural flow of the sea, rather than simply as a man-made structure? These questions remain unanswered, leaving us to wonder about the secrets still held beneath the surface of the ocean. What if the submerged roads are not just paths, but messages from a long-forgotten civilization, waiting to be decoded? What if the mysteries of Nan Madol are far deeper than we can even imagine, revealing a lost world of knowledge that we have only begun to uncover? The underwater roads of Nan Madol continue to stir our curiosity, drawing us into the depths of the past with each new discovery. As researchers dive deeper into the waters, searching for clues to the city's true purpose and origin, they may one day uncover the final piece of the puzzle. Until then, Nan Madol remains one of the world's greatest underwater mysteries, its roads and ruins silently awaiting the day when their secrets may finally be revealed. As the morning mist rises off Lake Van, located in the eastern highlands of Turkey, a quiet mystery lies beneath the surface. The lake's deep, cobalt waters conceal remnants of something ancient, something that, for centuries, has been hidden in plain sight. Beneath these tranquil depths lie sunken stone walls that remain largely unexplored and unexplained, casting a long shadow over the history of this region. Lake Van is a vast saline body of water, framed by rugged mountains and the distant echoes of civilizations past. The water is often still, mirroring the dramatic landscapes around it, and in many ways, it has remained unchanged for millennia. Yet, deep below the surface, in the darkened recesses of the lake, something astonishing lurks. Large, perfectly constructed stone walls. Their presence beneath the water is unsettling, an anomaly that raises more questions than answers. These submerged structures were first documented by researchers in the late 1980s, though local fishermen have long spoken of strange objects lurking in the depths of Lake Van. What exactly these walls are remains a mystery, one that has captured the attention of both archaeologists and those drawn to the unknown. The stone walls appear to have been part of a significant construction, but who built them, when, and why, remains a matter of debate. The walls, when observed, are startling in their precision. They stretch along the lake's floor, made of large stone blocks, some weighing several tons. These stones have been carefully shaped, much like the megalithic structures found in other ancient sites across the globe. The stones are arranged in long, straight lines, much like the remnants of a fortified city wall or the boundary markers of an ancient settlement. Some of the stones are even said to resemble those used in the construction of ancient Armenian and Urartian structures, suggesting that these walls may date back to the time of the Urartian kingdom, which flourished in this region around 800 BCE. The kingdom, known for its advanced engineering and architectural feats, constructed many impressive fortresses and walls during its reign. Yet, despite their apparent craftsmanship, the purpose of these submerged walls remains elusive. Some archaeologists suggest that they are remnants of a long-forgotten settlement that once bordered the shores of Lake Van. According to this theory, the lake's waters have risen significantly over the past several centuries, slowly inundating what was once dry land, leaving the structures submerged. If true, the submerged walls could represent the remains of a lost civilization, a community that thrived in the area before being overtaken by the advancing waters of the lake. However, other experts are not so quick to dismiss alternative explanations. Some point out the strange, almost unnatural quality of the walls. Why would an ancient settlement be constructed in such a location, where rising waters could easily submerge it? Could these walls have been intentionally built beneath the waterline, for purposes that we cannot yet comprehend? Was the construction of these walls tied to the beliefs or practices of the people who once lived here? Could the sunken walls be remnants of ritual sites, where offerings or ceremonies took place, submerged either accidentally or as part of a deliberate act of sacrifice or worship. The very location, deep beneath the water, suggests an intentional design, as if these stones were placed there with a purpose beyond mere practicality. Some researchers propose that the submerged walls may be connected to the Eurasian kingdom's complex system of fortifications, roads, and ceremonial sites. The Eurasians were known to build fortified cities with massive stone walls, and some speculate that these submerged walls might be the remains of an Eurasian border defense system, meant to protect the kingdom's lands from invaders. If this theory holds true, it would suggest that the site was once a vital strategic location, a point of control over the surrounding area, now lost beneath the waters of the lake. Yet, while the Eurasian connection is plausible, it is not without its contradictions. The Eurasians, for all their skill, did not typically build underwater structures. Could these walls be part of a more ancient civilization, one predating the Eurasians by thousands of years? Could these submerged ruins be remnants of a pre-Eurasian culture, lost to time and preserved beneath the waters for reasons unknown? Speculation runs wild in the face of these questions, though definitive answers remain elusive. The mystery deepens when considering the other oddities surrounding Lake Van. The lake is, after all, an area rich in ancient stories and legends. Local myths speak of a time when the lake was a place of great power, a sacred location that was thought to hold divine significance. Some stories even suggest that the lake was home to mythical creatures or had mystical properties. Could the submerged stone walls be linked to these ancient legends? Was this site believed to be a gateway to the other world, with the sunken walls serving as a physical barrier between realms? Could the lake itself have been considered a sacred entity, and these walls constructed as part of rituals to honor or commune with forces beyond human comprehension? And yet, even with all of these theories, there is another possibility: that the sunken stone walls of Lake Van may be part of a grander, more mysterious puzzle that we are only beginning to comprehend. There is a growing theory among some fringe researchers that the site may be much older than we realize, a remnant of an advanced civilization lost to time and the elements. This civilization, some believe, may have had knowledge of engineering, astronomy, or even aquatic technologies far beyond what we know. These submerged structures in this light are not merely forgotten relics of a bygone age, but perhaps clues to a lost history, one that challenges everything we know about the rise of human civilization. The submerged walls of Lake Van remain largely unexplored, the mystery of their origins still unresolved. As the world slowly turns its attention toward this enigmatic site, questions continue to swirl. Were these walls the product of natural forces, or were they built by a people whose knowledge and skills have been forgotten? Was the lake's rising water level the cause of their submersion, or was there a deeper, perhaps symbolic reason for their descent into the depths? As divers and archaeologists continue to study Lake Van and its submerged secrets, one thing remains clear: the mystery of the sunken stone walls is far from solved. Perhaps, one day, the answers will emerge from the shadows beneath the water, shedding light on a past that has long been hidden from our view. Until then, the submerged ruins will continue to call to those who seek to unravel the mysteries of the deep. The sea, vast and mysterious, holds many secrets beneath its surface, some of which lie buried off the coast of Okinawa, Japan. In the shadowy depths of the Pacific Ocean, just off the island's northern coast, a hidden world exists, one of terraces, walls, and structures unlike anything typically found in nature. The submerged terraces of Okinawa are an enigma that has drawn intrigue and speculation for decades. They suggest the presence of an ancient civilization, a culture that may have once flourished in this area, leaving behind an intricate, forgotten legacy, now swallowed by the sea. The terraces themselves are situated in waters approximately 30 meters deep, where they sit undisturbed by modern-day human activity. These stone formations resemble the kind of agricultural terraces found throughout the world, where civilizations throughout history have created tiered platforms to cultivate crops in steep or uneven landscapes. However, unlike any known agricultural terrace, these structures are submerged, facing the harsh reality of time and the encroaching ocean. Rows of perfectly cut stone steps cascade down from the submerged ridges, forming distinct terraces that rise and fall in a pattern that seems almost too deliberate, too symmetrical to be a natural formation. The sight of these terraces, bathed in the soft blue glow of the ocean, evokes the image of a long-lost civilization that once thrived in this area, perhaps in a way we cannot fully comprehend. Though they are submerged, the terraces are remarkably well preserved, with clear indications of human craftsmanship. The stones used in the construction of the terraces are large, square, and rectangular, blocks that seem to fit together as though placed with great precision, a level of skill not typical of natural formations. Some researchers believe that these terraces could date back thousands of years, perhaps to a time long before the arrival of written history in the region. Their existence challenges our understanding of the timeline of human activity in the Pacific, and raises the question, could these submerged terraces be the remnants of a civilization far older than any we currently know of? The mystery of these submerged terraces first came to light in the 1990s, when local fishermen and divers began reporting unusual underwater features in the area. Subsequent investigations by marine archaeologists revealed the extent of the terraces, and they were quickly identified as more than just natural formations. The precise alignment of the stones, their consistent measurements, and the overall design of the terraces all pointed to a human origin. Yet, who could have built these structures, and why? The mystery only deepened. Mainstream scholars have proposed several explanations for the terraces. One theory suggests that these terraces were created as part of an ancient agricultural system, perhaps used to grow crops in a region with difficult terrain. Given Okinawa's long history of cultivation and agriculture, it is conceivable that early inhabitants of the island constructed these terraces as a means to maximize arable land, much like the terraced rice paddies found throughout Southeast Asia. Over time, however, the rising sea levels could have gradually submerged the terraces, leaving them abandoned and forgotten beneath the waves. This theory of gradual submergence, though plausible, fails to explain some of the more peculiar elements of the terraces. For instance, many of the stones appear to have been carefully cut and shaped, suggesting a level of craftsmanship that goes beyond simple agricultural needs. Some of the stones are so large that it would have been an extraordinary feat to transport and place them, especially in a time when there were no modern tools or machinery. How could such a project have been completed without a level of engineering knowledge that seems to surpass what we know of ancient Okinawa? Could this suggest that the builders of the terraces possessed an advanced understanding of construction techniques, possibly even far beyond what the historical record shows? Moreover, the layout of the terraces, their geometrically perfect arrangement, hints at a purposeful design. They don't appear to be simply utilitarian, but may have had a deeper significance. Could the terraces have been part of a larger, more complex structure? Perhaps part of a city or a ceremonial site? There is something strangely compelling about the thought that these terraces could have been more than just agricultural. Could they have been constructed as part of a spiritual or ritualistic complex, a site where ancient people sought to connect with the land and the sea in a way that we no longer understand? As researchers delve deeper into the mystery, fringe theories begin to emerge. Some speculate that these terraces could be evidence of a lost civilization, one that predated the arrival of known historical cultures in the Pacific. Could these submerged terraces be the remnants of a civilization that existed before the rise of the Polynesians, or even the Austronesians? Some proponents of this theory suggest that the builders of the terraces were part of a now forgotten culture that possessed knowledge of the seas and advanced construction techniques, knowledge that was lost to time when their civilization mysteriously vanished. Others have raised the possibility that the terraces were constructed as part of a broader network of submerged structures, perhaps even a kind of underwater city that once extended across the region. If such a civilization existed, what caused it to disappear? Could this be evidence of a global catastrophe, an event that submerged vast areas of land, sinking civilizations into the depths of the ocean? The idea of a lost, sunken civilization is a theory that has been suggested in various forms around the world, from the legendary city of Atlantis to the fabled drowned cities of the Caribbean. The submerged terraces off Okinawa could be one more piece of the puzzle, hinting at a much larger, undiscovered history of human civilization. Despite the allure of these theories, no concrete evidence has yet emerged to support any of them. The submerged terraces remain a mystery, their true purpose and origin still hidden beneath the depths of the ocean. Could these stones and terraces hold the key to understanding the early history of human habitation in the Pacific? Or could they be a symbol of a lost and forgotten past, a testament to the ingenuity and resilience of a civilization that left behind only these cryptic clues? As the waters of Okinawa gently lap against the stone formations, one thing remains certain: the submerged terraces continue to beckon. Their mystery persists, awaiting discovery. What stories do these ancient stones hold? What knowledge and understanding have they kept hidden for millennia? The answers may still lie beneath the waves, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. As the sun sets over the Pacific, casting a warm golden light over the waters surrounding the island of Saipan, something enigmatic lies just beneath the surface. Off the coast of this remote island, in the clear, deep blue sea, stretches an unusual stone pavement, an ancient, submerged pathway that has intrigued explorers, archaeologists, and divers alike. Discovered in the 1990s, these stone pavements are not natural formations, but seem to have been deliberately arranged. They appear as a carefully crafted network of large, flat stones, perfectly aligned, as if to form roads or terraces, leading toward the unknown depths of the ocean. From the surface, the sight is disorienting. As the water shimmers above the stones, the pavement almost seems to glow, reflecting the light in eerie patterns. Some of the stones are square, others rectangular, and together they form a grid-like pattern that, in many ways, mirrors the kind of sophisticated stonework seen in the ancient world. Yet, there is something about this arrangement that suggests it was not built by modern hands. The pavement stretches for several hundred meters, gradually descending into deeper waters, and it is clear that this site is far older than anything that could be attributed to the modern era. The layout of the pavement, with its sharp corners and consistent spacing, suggests that it was designed for a specific purpose. What could it have been? Why would anyone create such a structure here, just offshore from Saipan, in waters where no civilization is known to have existed? Saipan, a small island in the northern Mariana Islands, has a rich history, but its past is far less explored than the more famous ancient civilizations of Europe or the Americas. The island has seen various cultures come and go throughout its long history, from the early Chamorro people to the Spanish colonists, and later, the Americans during World War II. But none of these cultures are known to have created anything remotely resembling the stone pavements found off its coast. So who could have built them, and when? Mainstream historians and archaeologists initially attributed the pavements to natural geological formations. They suggested that the stones could have been part of an ancient coral reef, slowly rearranged by the forces of nature over millennia. However, this theory fails to account for the precise alignment of the stones, the uniformity in their size and shape, and the clear signs of human craftsmanship embedded within the structure. These are no ordinary rocks, and the more one examines the pavement, the less likely it seems that this could be the work of nature alone. Could this be evidence of an ancient, unknown civilization? If so, what was their purpose in constructing such a vast stone structure under the sea? One possibility is that these pavements were once part of a city or settlement, now lost beneath the ocean due to rising sea levels. This theory has been proposed in relation to other submerged ruins found around the world, such as the famed city of Dwarka in India. Could the stone pavements be part of a similar ancient site, now sunken and hidden from view? The idea of a long-forgotten civilization, submerged beneath the waves, is both captivating and unsettling. Adding to the mystery is the Chamorro legend. The Chamorro people, who have inhabited the Mariana Islands for thousands of years, speak of a submerged city or a network of ancient roads beneath the sea. These legends have been passed down through generations, and the discovery of the stone pavements off Saipan has brought them into the spotlight. Some locals believe that these roads are connected to the ancient stories of their ancestors, a belief that adds a layer of spiritual significance to the site. Could these pavements be more than just a physical structure? Are they a representation of an ancient world, steeped in symbolism and connected to the spiritual realm in ways we cannot fully understand? Fringe theories take this mystery even further. Some suggest that the stone pavements are not merely the remnants of a lost civilization, but could be the remnants of something far older, possibly even extraterrestrial in origin. Could these stones, so perfectly aligned and so precisely placed, be the work of beings who were not human? Could the structure serve a purpose that goes beyond anything we can conceive, perhaps even linked to advanced technology or a form of navigation lost to time? While such theories remain speculative, the idea of alien influence on ancient civilizations has long captured the imagination of many, and the strange stone pavements of Saipan have added fuel to this fire. Then, there is the theory that the pavement is part of a ritualistic complex, a site built not for practical use, but for spiritual or ceremonial purposes. In many cultures, roads or paths are used to symbolize a journey, whether it be through life, death, or even the cosmos. Could these stone roads, submerged now beneath the ocean, have served as a sacred pathway to the afterlife, or a route to a place of divine importance? The idea that the stones were not intended for mere utilitarian use, but for something far more profound, adds an intriguing layer to this mystery. As divers continue to explore the site, new questions arise. What might lie beneath the pavement, hidden deeper in the ocean's depths? Could this submerged structure be the gateway to an even larger, undiscovered city or civilization? And if the pavement once extended above the water, what evidence of the civilization's true nature could still be waiting to be uncovered? Some have speculated that there may be further ruins, hidden just out of reach of the current exploration efforts. The sea is vast and unforgiving, and the passage of time has obscured many secrets that may still be waiting to reveal themselves. The stone pavements off Saipan remain an enigma, an artifact that challenges our understanding of history. Were they built by an ancient civilization, or do they represent something else entirely? Were they constructed for practical purposes, Or were they imbued with deep symbolic meaning? And, most tantalizing of all, what does the sea still hide beneath its surface, waiting to be discovered? As the sun sets over Saipan, and the shadows of the night stretch over the ocean, the stone pavements, bathed in the deepening twilight, seem to hold their secrets in silence. Perhaps, one day, we will uncover the truth. But for now, they remain a quiet reminder that the past, no matter how ancient or forgotten, still holds many mysteries, hidden beneath the waters of time. As the warm Mediterranean sun kisses the horizon, the island of Zakynthos lies quietly in its embrace, its rugged cliffs and turquoise waters beckoning the curious. Just off the coast, hidden beneath the shimmering surface of the sea, lies an enigma, an underwater mystery that has puzzled divers and researchers alike. Sunken towers rest in the deep, their ancient stones standing sentinel beneath the waves, offering no clear answers as to their origins or purpose. The towers, submerged for millennia, remain a silent testament to a long-lost civilization, one whose story we may never fully understand. The towers near Zakynthos are not the only underwater ruins to be discovered in the Mediterranean, but they stand out due to their distinct shape and remarkable state of preservation. Rising from the seafloor, like the skeletal remains of an ancient fortress, these towering structures are built from large blocks of stone, meticulously arranged and aligned with a precision that suggests deliberate design. Unlike many other submerged ruins that are fragmented and broken, the sunken towers near Zakynthos appear almost as though they were dropped into the sea and left to rest in their current state. The tower's design bears resemblance to ancient architectural styles, but their exact age and cultural origin remain elusive. They are believed to date back to around the 4th or 5th century BCE, but the absence of definitive markers of their creators means that speculation about their purpose is rampant. Were they part of a once great civilization, now lost to history? Or do they represent something even more enigmatic? A culture that flourished long before the more widely recognized empires of the ancient world. Some scholars suggest that the structures might have been watchtowers, used to protect the island's coast from marauding pirates or invaders. This would place the towers within the context of ancient Mediterranean defense systems, fortifications designed to maintain control over trade routes and territory. Yet, as more research is conducted, questions continue to surface about why such a monumental structure would be placed underwater. If the towers were built on dry land, where are the other signs of habitation or civilization? No settlements, temples, or roads appear to have been associated with the structures, deepening the mystery. Another theory is that the towers were part of an ancient port city that has long since vanished beneath the sea. As sea levels rose over the centuries, many coastal areas were submerged, leaving behind only the remnants of what was once there. Could these towers have once stood on the edge of a thriving metropolis, now hidden beneath the waves? Some believe that the structures might be linked to the Minoans, an ancient civilization that flourished in the Aegean and Eastern Mediterranean, long before the rise of the Greeks. Their connection to maritime culture and their mastery of building techniques lends credence to this idea, though no definitive evidence has been found to confirm the Minoan link. Yet, despite these theories, the questions surrounding the sunken towers near Zakynthos continue to linger. How did they come to rest beneath the sea? Was their sinking caused by natural forces, such as an earthquake or a flood? Or was there some other, more mysterious reason behind their submersion? Ancient texts and legends speak of catastrophic events, descriptions of cities swallowed by the sea, lost civilizations, and gods that shaped the very landscape. Could the towers near Zakynthos be the remnants of one such lost civilization, swallowed by a great disaster that has faded into myth? Some speculative theories even suggest that the structures may be much older than traditionally believed, dating back thousands of years, long before the Minoans or even the ancient Greeks. Could they have been built by a prehistoric culture, one whose knowledge and technology were far more advanced than we realize? The theory of a lost, advanced civilization is one that has captured the imagination of many, from the ancient city of Atlantis to more recent claims of technologically sophisticated ancient peoples. The idea that these towers could be remnants of a culture we have yet to uncover is both tantalizing and unsettling. A more mystical theory ties the towers to the idea of divine intervention or cosmic alignment. Some have speculated that the positioning of the towers might be intentional, designed to align with celestial bodies or to serve some kind of ritualistic purpose. Could these towers have been part of a larger complex that was designed to connect the earthly realm with the heavens? Their submerged nature adds a layer of intrigue to this theory. What if the sea had risen over time, submerging not just the physical structures, but also the knowledge that they contained? Is it possible that the sunken towers were not just a defense mechanism or part of a city, but a spiritual monument? A structure whose purpose transcended the physical world. As divers continue to explore the area, mapping the towers, and studying the surrounding seabed, new questions arise. What lies further beneath the surface, beyond the reach of current exploration efforts? Are there other structures or artifacts buried in the sand, waiting to be uncovered? The more that is discovered about these sunken towers, the more we realize how little we truly know about the past. The sea has long been a graveyard of mysteries, its depths hiding the remnants of civilizations that may never be fully understood. The mystery of the sunken towers near Zakynthos remains unsolved, its secrets locked away beneath the waves. Whether the structures were built for defense, for trade, or for spiritual purposes, they stand as a testament to a world we can only begin to imagine. As we continue to explore the depths of the Mediterranean, one must ask, what other ancient wonders lie hidden, waiting for the moment when we might finally unlock the stories they have to tell? In the silence of the deep, the sunken towers remain, their secrets preserved by the cold embrace of the ocean. Perhaps one day, when the time is right, we will finally uncover the truth about these ancient stones. Until then, they continue to stand as a silent mystery, casting a shadow over the waters and leaving us to wonder what else the sea might still be hiding. As the warm Mediterranean waters lap gently against the rocky shores of Sicily, something lies hidden beneath the surface, an ancient, submerged feature that has baffled divers and archaeologists for years. Off the coast of the island, deep beneath the waves, lies a series of underwater steps, their stone structure barely visible through the clear blue water. These steps, which appear to lead into the sea, rise from the seabed in an orderly fashion, and though the structure is not large in scale, its very existence is an enigma. The steps are located near the town of Marzamemi, a small fishing village on the southeastern coast of Sicily. The waters here, known for their calmness and transparency, provide a perfect environment for exploration. When divers first stumbled upon these underwater steps, the discovery was met with surprise. These are no ordinary natural formations. The stones that form the steps are shaped with remarkable precision, their edges smooth, and their alignment perfect. To the casual observer, it would seem as though they were once part of a human-built structure, now long submerged by the rising tides of time. But how did they come to be here? The steps are situated in relatively shallow waters, no deeper than 10 meters in some areas, and they rise in a gentle incline toward the surface. Their form and pattern suggest a purpose. But what could that purpose have been? Were they once part of a harbor, providing easy access to boats and ships as they came to shore? Or were they part of a temple complex, a sacred place where pilgrims descended into the water as part of a ritual? Theories abound, but each remains just as elusive as the next, leaving more questions than answers. Mainstream theories suggest that the steps may have been part of an ancient port or docking area, possibly used by the Phoenicians, Romans, or even earlier civilizations. These ancient peoples were known for their maritime expertise, and it is not out of the realm of possibility that such a structure could have been built to accommodate ships of the time. The town of Marzamemi itself has a long history, with evidence of ancient Phoenician and Greek settlements along the coast. It is plausible that the steps were used for trade or transportation, allowing easy access to and from the sea. However, no other structures nearby have been found to corroborate this theory, leaving the steps themselves as the only clue to what might have been. Others have suggested that the steps may be linked to the Greek gods, and the theory that they were part of a ritualistic or religious site has gained some traction. In ancient Greece and Rome, many temples and sacred spaces were built near, or even within the sea, where worshippers could interact with the elements and the gods. Could the steps have led to a temple dedicated to a sea god, like Poseidon or Neptune? If so, what secrets might have been lost with the passing of time, as the sea gradually reclaimed the land? Still, there are those who entertain more speculative theories, venturing far from the mainstream explanations. Some suggest that the underwater steps could be part of an ancient lost civilization, far older than the civilizations traditionally associated with Sicily. Could these steps have been built by a people who were far more advanced than we give them credit for, possibly even predating the known Greek and Roman settlements by thousands of years? There are those who point to similar underwater structures found elsewhere in the world, such as the Bimini Road in the Bahamas, or the submerged city of Dwarka in India, which some believe could be evidence of a lost civilization, one that existed long before recorded history. The idea that the steps near Sicily are part of such a culture raises intriguing possibilities, but as of now, there is no concrete evidence to support this. Another theory that has garnered attention is the idea that the steps might have been part of an ancient flood, perhaps marking the remnants of a once great city that was submerged by a cataclysmic event. Historical records from many ancient cultures describe massive floods that reshaped coastlines and swallowed entire cities. Could these steps be the only remaining feature of a civilization destroyed by the sea? A last fragment of a once thriving hub now lost beneath the waves. The idea of a lost city or settlement, swallowed whole by the ocean, is a compelling one. Yet, despite the allure of such a narrative, the evidence remains scant, leaving us to wonder if these steps are merely a relic of something smaller and less grand, lost to time, but not to the sea. And then, there is the possibility that the underwater steps are simply a natural formation, a result of the geological processes that shaped the coastline over millennia. Some believe that the steps may have formed naturally, with the sea eroding the rock into a stair-like pattern. But even this theory seems to defy explanation, for such a precise, orderly pattern is hard to reconcile with the randomness of natural forces. The alignment of the steps, their smooth surfaces, and their even spacing all suggest that they were crafted, rather than formed by erosion. But if they were human-made, the question remains, by whom, and for what purpose? Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of this discovery is the fact that we may never truly know the answers. As with many underwater mysteries, the sea has a way of hiding its secrets beneath layers of time and water. As divers continue to explore the steps and the surrounding area, new discoveries may emerge, shedding light on their purpose. But for now, the underwater steps near Sicily remain a silent puzzle, their story locked away beneath the waves. What do they represent? Were they part of a grand structure that once rose above the water, now claimed by the sea? Or do they hold a more mysterious, spiritual significance, part of a ritual site where the waters themselves were revered? The steps continue to rise from the seabed, their precise form a testament to a time long past, offering us just a glimpse of the past before the tide of history swallowed it whole. And as we gaze into the depths, we are left to wonder, what other mysteries lie just beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered? As the sun sinks low over the Gulf of Combat, located on the western coast of India, the waters are calm, their surface gleaming like a sheet of glass. Yet beneath this tranquil expanse, hidden from view, lie the remains of something far more mysterious. Circular ruins that have baffled archaeologists, divers, and historians for years. These submerged structures, eerily perfect in their design, appear like fragments of an ancient city or sacred complex, forgotten by time, but preserved beneath the waves. The Gulf of Combat, a region known for its rich history and complex geology, is home to a series of remarkable discoveries, but none more puzzling than the circular ruins that lie on its seafloor. Discovered by sonar scans and further explored by divers, these ruins seem to form a pattern that suggests human intention. Deliberately shaped stone formations, arranged in perfect circles and semicircles, their size and structure unlike anything naturally occurring in the region. At first glance, the formations look like the remains of a city, an ancient temple, or even an elaborate ceremonial site, lost to history, but preserved by the waters. The ruins are not a single structure, but a sprawling collection, spread over a wide area, with concentric rings that resemble an advanced understanding of urban planning or spiritual design. Some of the circular formations appear to be remnants of walls, while others resemble paved paths or even foundations of long-destroyed buildings. What they were used for, who built them, and why they are buried under the Gulf's waters, remain questions that continue to elude a definitive answer. Mainstream explanations typically suggest that these ruins are the remnants of ancient port cities, perhaps dating back to the time of the Indus Valley Civilization, one of the world's earliest urban societies, known for its advanced cities, such as Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa. Tectonic plates could have caused a significant part of the land to sink, taking with it the cities that once flourished along the coast. This would explain why such ruins might now lie submerged beneath several meters of water. But why do they appear so perfectly circular? Could this precise design really be the work of a culture so ancient? While the Indus Valley Civilization offers a reasonable context for the age and structure of these ruins, the circular patterns, so distinct and consistent, have led some to question whether these are the works of the same people, or if they belong to a different, even older, civilization. Could these ruins predate the Indus Valley itself, perhaps built by a lost culture, whose existence remains entirely undocumented? There are many speculative theories about such advanced, unknown civilizations, and the circular ruins off Combat have only added fuel to the fire. Some believe these structures could be linked to an even earlier civilization, one that existed long before the rise of known human societies, and might have had knowledge and capabilities far beyond what we now imagine possible. An intriguing theory posits that these structures may be linked to the myth of Atlantis, the lost city described by the philosopher Plato, who wrote about a highly advanced civilization that was swallowed by the ocean. The geometric precision of the circular ruins, coupled with their location beneath the sea, has led some to suggest that they could be the remnants of this legendary city, just one more piece in the puzzle of humanity's distant past, waiting to be uncovered. Could these submerged ruins be evidence of a civilization so advanced that it could have influenced the development of all the cultures that came after it? Yet, despite the allure of such ideas, no direct evidence links these ruins to the myth of Atlantis, nor is there any proof that they belong to a civilization that predates the Indus Valley. Still, the idea of lost knowledge and ancient secrets, preserved beneath the waters, lingers as a compelling narrative. And what of the circular shape itself? What could such a design symbolize? Was it simply a practical architectural choice, or did it have a deeper, spiritual significance? In ancient cultures, circles often represented eternity, wholeness, and the cyclical nature of life. Could these rings of stone have served as part of a larger ritualistic or ceremonial site, perhaps aligned with the stars or the changing seasons? Further exploration of the site has yielded some intriguing clues. Artifacts found in the surrounding areas suggest that the region was once a hub for trade and commerce, but the ruins themselves, perfectly circular and symmetrical, do not fit easily within the framework of known urban designs from the region's past. The lack of written records from the time further complicates our understanding. While the Harappan scripts remain undeciphered, we have at least some understanding of their culture through the artifacts and ruins found at Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. But these circular formations in the Gulf of Combat offer no such insight. They stand as silent witnesses to a past that cannot speak for itself. As more advanced techniques of sonar scanning and deep-sea exploration are applied, the full scope of the submerged ruins continues to emerge. Yet, the mystery remains. Why are these circular ruins so distinct from anything else found in the region? Could they be the work of a civilization we have yet to discover, one whose secrets still lie buried beneath the sea? Or is it possible that these formations are something even more inexplicable? Structures whose origins and purposes are beyond our current understanding. As we continue to peer into the depths of the Gulf of Combat, one cannot help but wonder, what might still be hidden there, waiting to be uncovered? And what ancient knowledge, long lost to time, could these ruins be guarding beneath the waves? As the golden sun sets over the vast Arabian desert, casting long shadows over the endless dunes, there lies a mystery that has captivated the imaginations of explorers, historians, and adventurers for centuries. Deep within the barren, wind-swept expanse of the Rub al-Khali, or the Empty Quarter, there is a legend of a city, rich in wealth and knowledge, that vanished into the sands of time. The Atlantis of the sands, known as Ubar. The tale of Ubar, sometimes called the Lost City of Iram, is shrouded in myth and steeped in mystery. According to ancient texts, Ubar was a prosperous and powerful city, said to be built of stone and marble, a place where treasures and riches abounded. The city's wealth was legendary, as was its advanced civilization. It was believed to be located in the southern Arabian Peninsula, somewhere within the vast stretches of the Rub al-Khali, one of the most unforgiving and inhospitable deserts in the world. The earliest reference to Ubar appears in the Quran, where the city is described as a place of grandeur and excess, only to be destroyed by divine wrath. In the Quran, the people of Ubar were said to have been proud and arrogant, and their city was consumed by a violent catastrophe, lost beneath the sand, and forgotten by time. And there was no city like it, the text states, hinting at a civilization so advanced and so powerful, that its fall was meant to serve as a warning to the people of the time. This narrative sparked imaginations across cultures, with writers, explorers, and mystics all pondering what happened to Ubar and whether it ever truly existed. For centuries, Ubar remained a tale told by Bedouins and travelers until the 19th century, when the search for the city began in earnest. Various explorers ventured into the empty quarter, seeking the remains of the legendary city. Their expeditions, often perilous and fraught with danger, revealed little more than the desert's impenetrable expanse and shifting dunes. Still, the allure of Ubar remained potent. Could this mythical city really be lost beneath the sands, or was it simply a creation of legend, a cautionary tale like the myth of Atlantis? In the 1980s, the mystery of Ubar took an unexpected turn. Using satellite imagery, researchers identified unusual formations deep within the Rub al-Khali, which appeared to resemble the outlines of ancient structures. These discoveries sparked renewed excitement. Were these formations evidence of Ubar's existence, or merely natural geological patterns? The images revealed a series of circular, rectangular, and linear structures buried beneath the sands. Some of these formations seemed too deliberate, too symmetrical, to be purely natural. Could they represent the ruins of the fabled city? To add further intrigue, the search for Ubar was joined by the discoveries of ancient trade routes and water sources that suggested a highly sophisticated civilization once thrived in the region. The existence of wells and caravanserais, or ancient stopping points for merchants, hinted that an advanced society could have flourished in the desert's heart, thriving on trade and agricultural knowledge that was far ahead of its time. The idea that Ubar was a great trading hub, connecting ancient civilizations from Mesopotamia to the Arabian Peninsula, began to take shape. Despite these tantalizing clues, definitive proof of Ubar's existence has remained elusive. Some scholars believe the city never existed in the way the legends describe it, largely attributing the stories to the imaginations of early writers or the embellishments of travelers recounting the past. Instead, they suggest that Ubar may have been a nomadic tribe or an isolated settlement, destroyed by the forces of nature rather than divine retribution. The shifting sands, along with the harsh desert conditions, could have obliterated any traces of a once thriving community, leaving behind only myths and half-remembered tales. Others, however, remain convinced that Ubar's ruins are hidden somewhere within the empty quarter, waiting to be uncovered by those daring enough to venture into its depths. Could the city's destruction have been so complete that it was swallowed by the desert, its remains now buried too deeply for modern archaeology to unearth? Perhaps, some speculate, the city was covered by a cataclysmic sandstorm, or a massive flood that transformed the landscape, leaving only fragments of the once great civilization to be discovered centuries later. The question that continues to intrigue and confound researchers is, what happened to Ubar? The vastness of the Rub al-Khali presents both a barrier and an opportunity for those who seek answers. Satellite technology, coupled with the ingenuity of modern archaeology, has enabled researchers to explore parts of the desert that were once considered too difficult to access. Yet, despite these advancements, Ubar remains as elusive as ever. Is it possible that the city of Ubar was merely an exaggerated myth, born from the collective imagination of ancient peoples? Or is there a deeper truth to the legend, a long-lost civilization that flourished and then disappeared, its story still waiting to be revealed? Perhaps the sands have hidden Ubar so well that even the most advanced technology cannot reach it. Or maybe it is simply waiting for the right person to uncover it, someone with the ability to interpret the desert's secrets. The concept of a lost city is a tantalizing one, stirring the human desire to discover something long forgotten. a piece of history that could shed light on a forgotten past. The story of Ubar continues to captivate us, not just because of its legendary grandeur, but because of the unanswered questions that remain. Will it ever be found? Or will the Atlantis of the sands remain a ghost in the desert, its secrets buried forever beneath the shifting dunes? And as we ponder the fate of Ubar, one can't help but wonder, what other ancient cities, civilizations, or stories lie hidden in the depths of time, waiting to be uncovered? What might the sands of the earth still be keeping from us, locked away in their eternal embrace? As the waves lap against the shores of the North Sea, an ancient land once stretched beneath the waters, its shores inhabited by people whose lives and culture remain veiled in mystery. This land, known as Doggerland, lies submerged beneath the cold waters between Britain and continental Europe, an area that was once part of the landmass that connected these regions thousands of years ago. Today, it is a ghostly place, accessible only to those who dive into the depths of history, archaeology, and the shifting tides of the seas. Imagine, if you can, a time over 10,000 years ago, when this landscape was not submerged beneath water, but instead a lush, fertile terrain. Doggerland was a vast expanse of land, rich with dense forests, meadows, and rivers, teeming with animals and early human life. It was a crossroads of sorts, linking the British Isles with what we now call mainland Europe. The land was not an isolated island or a barren wasteland, but a thriving ecosystem, inhabited by hunter-gatherer societies and a diverse array of wildlife. Evidence of this past life has been uncovered in surprising ways, through the relics that have risen from the depths of the North Sea, and through the tireless work of scientists and archaeologists trying to piece together this submerged world. In its prime, Doggerland would have stretched from the present-day shores of the Netherlands and Germany to the east, across what is now the North Sea, reaching up to the British Isles to the west. The fertile land was a bridge between the two landmasses, and its wetlands, forests, and rivers would have supported a variety of species. Evidence of ancient hunting tools, flint artifacts, and bones suggests that early humans once walked the plains of this now lost world, hunting mammoths, reindeer, and other megafauna that roamed freely in the region. But this land, so vibrant with life, did not remain above the surface for long. Something changed. Around 8,000 years ago, at the end of the last ice age, a dramatic shift occurred. Rising sea levels, caused by the melting ice caps, began to inundate the lower-lying areas of Doggerland. Gradually, the land was swallowed up, and the once thriving area began to disappear beneath the waves. What had once been a broad land bridge became a submerged landscape, a watery grave for the villages, rivers, and wildlife that once flourished there. Some experts suggest that catastrophic floods or a sudden sea level rise might have hastened the sinking of Doggerland, potentially even triggering the rapid displacement of its human inhabitants. Yet, much of what we know about this disaster remains speculative, as the evidence lies hidden beneath the sea. Today, much of what remains of Doggerland is accessible only to those who venture into the deep waters of the North Sea. It is a land now lost to the ages, lying beneath 10 to 30 meters of water. Sonar scans and underwater archaeology have provided glimpses of the past, revealing submerged forests, ancient riverbeds, and traces of the human activity that once occurred there. The most compelling of these discoveries include stone tools, bones, and the occasional well-preserved relic. One of the most significant finds was the discovery of a Neolithic settlement off the coast of Norfolk, revealing a civilization that once lived, hunted, and worked on the land, now buried under the waves. As marine archaeologists continue to explore these underwater sites, New insights are slowly being revealed about the lives of the people who lived in Doggerland. But the mystery doesn't end there. Some researchers have speculated that Doggerland may have been home to complex societies, far more advanced than simple hunter-gatherers. Could the people of Doggerland have been engaged in sophisticated cultural practices, trading with distant communities, or even building some of the earliest settlements in Europe? Evidence suggests that the region may have been an important route for migration, possibly even serving as a passage for early humans moving into Britain and Ireland. Could Doggerland have played a pivotal role in the spread of human culture, perhaps connecting disparate populations and facilitating exchanges between early European societies? Adding to the intrigue is the possibility that Doggerland may have been more than just a forgotten piece of land. It could have been the site of ancient rituals and even spiritual practices. The discovery of burial sites, including the remains of people who appear to have been deliberately buried, hints at a society that had developed at least some form of ritualistic practice. Could the people of Doggerland have built sacred sites or engaged in practices linked to the natural world? Was there some form of symbolic significance attached to the land that we cannot fully understand, given our limited knowledge of their culture? What remains perhaps the most intriguing and elusive aspect of Doggerland is the question of its sudden disappearance. The people who lived there vanished from the historical record, and their once thriving communities were swallowed by the sea. Was their displacement a result of gradual environmental change, or did something more catastrophic occur? Some suggest that rising sea levels and flooding could have forced these ancient people to migrate. But could there have been a more sudden event, a rapid rise in water levels, or a massive storm that swept away entire communities in a matter of days? Some theories even suggest that Doggerland's demise was part of a larger series of natural disasters affecting the region at the time. And yet, definitive evidence remains out of reach. As archaeologists continue to explore the submerged remnants of Doggerland, the quest to understand this lost world continues. Every sonar scan, every artifact, and every underwater excavation brings us a little closer to unraveling the mystery of this ancient land. Yet, many questions remain unanswered. Could the people of Doggerland have left behind other forms of evidence, perhaps lost texts or oral histories, that we have yet to discover? Or is it possible that the answers to the mystery of Doggerland lie buried too deep, hidden beneath centuries of shifting tides and turbulent seas? As we ponder the submerged land, we are reminded that history often leaves traces, fragmentary, elusive, and sometimes impervious to our modern understanding. What lies beneath the waters of the North Sea might one day reveal itself, but for now, it remains a shadow of the past, a place where answers slip away like the ebbing tide.